You are now entering Video Village.
In an invisible dirigible.
How risible? You're not invisible.
Coming up,
We review Better Man,
Doctor Who, Joy to the World.
Gavin and Stacey, the finale,
Wallace Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl.
Kraven the Hunter,
Paddington in Peru.
Red One,
Queer,
The Room Next Door,
Squid Game Season 2.
and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Let us begin with the Sam's Lexicentre.
Amen.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's lexicon.
Center.
This, Jordan, I have two, actually.
Okay.
Kind of. The first one is an in-universe device that generates episodic plot lines for television shows. For example, Michael Scofield's tattoos in Prison Break.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or The Blacklist in The Blacklist.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call that the story mine.
Okay. Why?
Why the story mine?
Why the story mine?
Because it sounds like storyline, but it's the story mine.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
I did toy with, and this is the other term, episource. But I've landed on a separate definition for that. Episource is an umbrella term that covers any context for story creation. For example, it's a procedural.
Oh, right, okay.
So the episource is implicit there. It's a procedural. It's a cop show. Where do the storylines come from? It's a hospital drama.
Oh, I see.
That's
okay.
the episource. You know, Breaking Bad, the episource would be the unfolding. You'd have to kind of go into it a little bit more, you know?
Okay.
For those kind of narratives. But I think an episource is anything that explains where the storyline comes from, whereas the story mine is a device, a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
This episode will focus on this, like...
This bit of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, the story mine and episource.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's lexicon.
Center.
And we're doing away with the catch-up section from now on, aren't
It's gone.
we? It's gone. It just means there's more chapters, basically.
Well, it means that we're actually, like, listing all of the things we're talking about.
Yes.
So I think especially after that, like, long
Yes.
hour and a half one, where we reviewed, like, 20 things, none of which get referenced in the material. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to start with Better Man.
We are.
Yes. What is it?
In this musical biopic,
Yeah.
this adult musical biopic,
Yeah.
which kind of threw me a little bit. I wasn't expecting it to be
Yeah, I suppose so,
like
yeah.
sweary and sexy and everything. Robbie Williams is portrayed as an ape.
Yes.
A piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we'll like get into or speculate about why that decision was made.
Yeah.
But like, did you know? I mean, you obviously knew who Robbie Williams was,
Of course.
Prior to this. It seems like the big, like, not controversy at the moment, but like it's obviously bombing in America.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying it's like, yeah, we don't know who this is.
Yeah, like, hello.
Yeah.
Aren't you reading this? Yeah, we don't know who the guy is. Yeah.
But as people like born in the UK, we obviously know who Robbie Williams is. Did you know much about him though?
not
Outside
his,
of
not
just
his
what
life.
he was? Yeah.
Not his life. His persona, his hits, his being in Take That, and kind of where he's at now.
Yeah.
But no, not about his upbringing or anything like that. And I didn't care to know.
No. Yeah, I didn't know like specifics like that, but also kind of I guess I knew vaguely that he was a bit of a handful. There was obviously a reason why he separated from Take That when he did.
Yeah. I just assumed that was, I can go solo and make it.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was kicked out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't know he was as much of a piece of work as this film makes him out to be.
Yes.
A film that presumably has his blessing because he narrates it.
Yeah, I found out, though, that the monkey thing wasn't his idea. The ape thing.
Okay.
I think that was brought to him.
Okay, because the whole thing of that is like, oh, you're finally I'm going to show you my life from...
How I see myself.
How I see myself, yeah.
I think I saw a snippet of an interview where he said the director came to him and said, what animal do you think you are?
Okay.
He said, I'm a lion, because it's Robbie Williams. And the director
He
went
went,
like,
pick again.
yeah, you're a chimp.
Okay.
It's something like that. Anyway, I don't like Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, I certainly don't now after watching this.
Okay, yeah. Neither his erstwhile, maybe, cocky persona, nor whatever he is now.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd find it, because I don't know how we'd find it. We only recently started archiving all our content. but in a podcast many moons ago, I talked about his appearance on the Adam Buxton podcast. And he's come to embody this self-indulgent self-deprecation whose apparent self-awareness reeks of second chapter PR.
Okay.
You know, where he's got an agent or whatever, or a public man that said to him, okay, you're now in your 50s.
We're going to rebuild your
We're going
image.
to rebrand you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it feels like that. He just talks endlessly about, I used to be a piece of shit, and all. It becomes indulgent in the other direction.
Yeah.
You know?
Not quite as extreme as Baby Reindeer, but I'm assuming in that kind of way where
It's like lashing.
Yeah.
As like a
they're so
image.
eager to kind of highlight their flaws
Yeah.
and point out that they're a bad person.
Yeah.
That it becomes almost like, I don't know, you feel
there's a narcissism in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you distinguish that from the genuine article, how you tell reconnaissance from Hillary Clinton's What Happened book.
Right.
I suppose it's just a gut thing, but there is something unlikable about Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
If this new phase of his is sincere, then I eat my words, but I'm not convinced. Not even if it's sincerity, just that he's likable. Like, he starts the film by saying, I've been called slappable, a narcissistic prick. All that is true, but this is how I see myself. It's superficially self-critical shtick.
Okay.
Maybe I have a bias toward good-looking, incredibly successful men moaning. I don't know. So, we know he's being depicted as a chimp. You know that going in.
Yeah, we do.
But his being a chimp is totally inconsequential.
I was thinking about that because you're right.
Yeah.
Because you tune it out after a while. I don't know if you did.
No, I did, and that's you should tune it out.
Yeah, but then why go to the expense?
Yeah, unless it's like, oh, the point has been made. Now we're going to kind of
stuck with
reinforce it. Yeah, either we're stuck with it, or we're going to reinforce it across the film, and we'll remind you, oh yeah, we're portraying him as a chimp for this reason.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you just settle into he's depicted as a chimp, but the world isn't noticing that, and because you know diegetically he's not a chimp.
No, obviously everyone sees him as Robbie Williams,
but we are being forced to.
Yeah.
Honestly, my conspiracy theory about that is that Robbie Williams does not want anyone playing him in a film. No actor could play me. That's my complete. I have nothing to base that on other than his personality that he's admitting to.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like, who would you cast to play Robbie Williams? Oh, no one could possibly do that. You know, it's got to be a CG creature.
Yeah, I mean, why, chimp? I understand that, if you're going to do a film like this, where, the animal, it's just an aesthetic choice, really.
Yeah.
A lion would be too unwieldy because, obviously, the biology is completely different. A chimp is kind of close enough that you could just,
That's it. A chimp can just stand up and be as tall as a human, and...
Yeah, which okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a practical consideration that shouldn't really come into the artistic conversation.
No.
But, what's the perceived personality of a chimp? Obviously, the whole thing with, dogs is that they're stupid and loyal. The thing with cats is that they're distant and kind of above it all.
Yes.
The thing with lions, I guess, is that they're kind of, proud and regal.
Yeah.
What's the chimp, personality?
A chimp, I would say, what do we think? We think close to human, we think intelligent, and we think manic. If you call someone, oh, you're just chimp, mate, it's someone who jumps about and makes a tit of themselves, I suppose.
Okay,
right?
so it does kind of work.
Yeah, I think it does work in that way. Like, a kid's like a little monkey in it. Like, they've drunk a lot of orange squash and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, chimp just bounces about. So it does work in that sense, but I think it just ties in, again, to that self-deprecation shtick, which is, and maybe the thinking is, if we show him to be a completely vain, pompous, arrogant piece of shit, if it's a monkey, we'll forgive it.
Right, okay.
Maybe that's the thinking.
Yeah.
You don't.
No.
But maybe that was the logic of it, which is we'll soften the blow, because it's a monkey, and you can't hate a monkey.
Okay.
Or chimp, I know they're different.
Okay.
I just had no time for it, really. I have a soft spot for Feel, the song, and Angels, because we grew up with those songs. Otherwise, his songs don't mean anything to me, and they don't exactly have that timeless fortitude that we see with a group like ABBA. There are artists and there are artists, songs and songs, almost beyond tastes, like Elton John and Rocket Man, Queen and We Will Rock You. I'm not even commenting on the quality of those musicals, but they have solid catalogues. This isn't the same. Plus, he's not an artist, to me anyway. He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
Let me entertain you.
Well, self-pointed,
yeah, that's
right?
what he says. I'm just an entertainer. But I think let me entertain you is what it all comes down to, right? He doesn't entertain me, but he obviously entertains a lot of people. There's just nothing that interesting or unique or meaningful or necessary about his story. It's about a kid obsessed with becoming famous and then does, and is a big head, then gets gradually humbled a bit but remains a big head.
Yeah.
That's it. So, okay, what's vital and different about that
Yeah.
that I needed to see it? Thinking about it now, Robbie Williams belongs in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He belongs to have an ongoing contract where he just lives in Vegas. You know, like a lot of celebrities, when they're over the hill, they take up residency in like a casino. They perform, like, I don't know, Barry Manilow or someone like that, or Liberace.
Right.
That's where Robbie Williams belongs. You know, performing to like middle-aged women every night in Vegas.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like at the end of the film, which you might be coming to, I'm not sure where you are in your notes,
Okay.
but yeah, he's standing on stage with Steve Pemberton, his father.
Yes.
And he kind of like puts his hand on his shoulder, Robbie Williams' shoulder, and he goes, "You're one of the gods now, son."
Right.
And it's just funny thinking like this bombed in America because like nobody knew who he was.
Yeah, one of the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the film, doesn't he? He kind of sets up that like his inspirations were cabaret, like Frank Sinatra, crooners and that kind of thing.
Yeah, big band and
like people that are actually gods in the sense that they are like household names. They're known across generations. Even if you don't listen to that type of music, you know who Frank Sinatra is.
Yeah.
And I guess tied in that with that, it's just like the nerve of ending,
putting him up there,
not just being like, oh yeah, Frank Sinatra, Robbie Williams, as if that means anything to like most of the world today. But just the nerve of ending this, what's the term for it? Like setlist musical,
jukebox music,
ending a jukebox musical.
It's kind of that.
Yeah. Well, they're all like his songs, right?
Yeah. Jukebox would usually mean it's different artists.
Oh,
songs.
right, okay.
Yeah.
So what would it be for like Wicked?
It's a musical biopic.
Like We Will Rock You and like
they would be considered jukebox musicals. Yeah.
Okay. Ending a jukebox musical of your own material, ending it with someone else's.
Yeah, we will come back to that.
Yeah.
But like you said, Steve Pemberton plays his father, wearing a series of wigs.
Yes.
Which suddenly thrusts us inside number 9 Royston Vasey.
Yeah.
Damon Harriman can knock out a solid English accent.
Is he?
He's
Dewey. Yeah, Dewey from
who's Australian.
Yeah.
And plays Manson in Mindhunter and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah. Gary Barlow is not a genius, as Williams claims in the film. When Take That is first formed, they do the gay club circuit.
Yeah.
Boy bands are gay.
Okay.
All boy bands are gay.
Oh, you're just making that declaration now?
Not bands, but boy bands.
Okay.
All boy bands are gay. And that's not my being jealous of attractive young men scoring ample P. They just are, alright? The film biographically contextualizes the songs. So when his father leaves, he sings Feel. After his grandmother dies, Angels. I assumed that Robbie Williams didn't write his own songs. Turns out he's written some with a recurring collaborator.
Yeah.
Not enough to change my whole impression of the bloke, but okay, he's at least written some of his songs, co-written. I resented any attempt on the film's part to produce a feeling in me.
Right.
There's a shot in that final sequence where he sings My Way with his father, and it cuts back to them doing it when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And there was a mild pang in me for a second. Fathers and sons. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
It's like a golden retriever. It's like, no, you're cheating.
Well, exactly. Like, you can't use that. I can't give you a point for that.
Yeah.
My Way, yes, there's an indestructible song.
Yeah.
As I sing at the end. In a way, it's emblematic of the whole thing. I, of course, love that song, but it's a safe crowd pleaser. It's like Sweet Caroline. It's the funeral song because people want to believe they lived their lives that way, or people they loved lived their lives that way.
Yeah.
Maybe not lowest, but it's low common denominator. But that is spot on for Robbie Williams. He admits it. It's cabaret. World-class cabaret in his words. And that's fine. I want the world to have cabaret. But yes, like you're alluding to, it says so much that this film about a musician crescendos on someone else's song.
Yeah.
You know? It's not a firm rule, but maybe I'd just rather my biopics be about artists.
Yeah.
And not about cabaret entertainers, unless there's something else interesting about that story.
Yeah, which I guess that's the point where you argue, well, the fact he's a monkey is what makes it interesting, right?
But it doesn't, though, does it?
No, it doesn't.
That's the problem. Yeah, it's being considered the first box office bomb of the year.
Yeah.
Because nobody in America knows who Robbie Williams is. Why they thought this would do any business overseas is pretty delusional.
Because monkey, right?
I guess.
That's what all the memes are saying. Do you see the Mad Men meme? I haven't seen that far in the show, so I don't know the context of the scene that it's like referencing. But it's like Elizabeth, what's her name?
Moss.
She's kind of standing like at Don Draper's desk, and she's like, nobody in America knows who Robbie Williams is, and it cuts to Don Draper with like a stern face, going, "Well, that's what the monkey is for."
Yeah, I can't remember what, but yes, I know what that is referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Is that what it is? Maybe that's what it is to give it more kind of universal appeal.
Well, I think it is. I think it's going for the same thing as... I mean, it's tapping into something different, but it's the same thing as Piece by Piece, right? Like, who's going to go see a Pharrell Williams documentary? They might go see it made out of Lego.
But Pharrell is an international star. Robbie Williams isn't.
Yeah, but you've still got people like us who don't care enough about Pharrell Williams to check out a film like that.
No, of course, yeah. Yeah, so there's like a gimmick to it.
Yeah.
But there, I know it's not... I mean, I don't know much about the marketing, but, this does become an all-out musical at points with, numbers in the streets like Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
You have to like the music. It wants you to sing along to it,
Yeah.
It's cabaret, again. The film is steeped, and this kind of plays into what we were just saying, in a certain British tabloidy fame.
Okay.
So between Williams, Take That, and Oasis, who pop up, and All Saints, all of whom failed to crack America. It's just interesting that they are all in the film as well. It's like, no, none of these people are over, like, it's an interesting gulf, isn't it? Like, over here, Only Fools and Horses is endemic. Everybody knows what that is.
Yeah.
Nation's favourite sitcom. They have no idea what that is in America.
Yeah.
Not a clue, They tried to remake it a couple of times, it's never worked. No one's heard of it. Anton Deck. There are certain people that are just British, even A-list British celebrities, that never made it overseas. Yeah. And that's what this film is in a nutshell. Destined to maybe do okay in the UK, but nowhere else. And Robbie Williams is a piece of shit.
I agree. I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the filmmaking was all right.
It's not a badly made film. It's the bloke that did The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
The director of that. It's competently mounted, but like to what end,
Yeah. I think that's kind of the biggest problem, isn't it? Yeah, like if you don't buy into the gimmick.
If you're not a fan of Robbie Williams.
And if you're not a fan of Robbie Williams.
And there are certain people like Oasis, I know they have their haters as well, but I think when they have that cocky, maybe half ironic, maybe half just from Manchester thing.
Yeah.
I can either forgive it or like it because there's a certain charm in, I don't know, being like all out, yeah, we're fucking brilliant, Robbie Williams can't pull that off.
No.
There's no, I guess because their songs are uniting and they can be beautiful and about the experience of love and working class. Robbie Williams doesn't have songs like that.
No.
So when he's cocky, it's just, who the fuck does this guy think he is?
Yeah.
Morrissey can be cocky and, racist. Because it was the Smiths.
Okay.
Because he was the front man of the Smiths. Robbie Williams was one of the dancers in Take That. So, yeah. No, I do not recommend Better Man.
I don't recommend it. I don't really think that, like, if you don't like the songs, there's really nothing for you here.
It doesn't, our opinion doesn't really matter in terms of encouraging.
If you do like the songs, then maybe. I guess.
I mean, you'll hear them. Not sung by him, but you'll hear them.
Because, I would say to that, it's like, well, I'll just listen to the songs. But I think there is probably something to seeing, like, a lot of
monkey do it.
Seeing a monkey do it, certainly. But yeah, I mean, the Rock DJ, I think, is one of the songs that's in the film. That's when Take That gets signed to a label. So it's this big music number that's like through the streets of London and everyone's kind of...
That's interesting, isn't it? Because it's, again, we're going back to it, contextualize the songs. But not really, because Rock DJ was a solo song by him. But it's being used to celebrate the group getting... So it's a little bit muddy in that way.
It is muddy, but I think just like the spectacle...
Yeah, that's...
That film brings to that song.
That's the big musical number that I was talking about, in the street, and it's a dance number, and yeah.
You might like that, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Really.
No. Okay, let's move on then.
Okay.
Doctor Who Joy to the World.
Yeah.
The Christmas special.
Yes.
This is our final 2024 episode, basically.
Yeah. We're going to be drawing a line under the year after this, right?
Our reviews, but our next episode will be our best and worst of the year. Okay, when you go away and come back to Doctor Who, it's always an adjustment, I find.
Yeah.
I've been away from him for a little while, so Gatwa is a lot again.
Yeah.
But then I quite liked him again.
I really go back and forth on him, because I think he's...
I do too.
I know that, like, Tennant was a lot in, like, his early years, and Matt Smith could be a lot as well. But, I mean, Gatwa really does feel like a lot. It really does feel like with this Doctor, they are trying to play younger than Tennant and Smith ever did.
Yes, they've gone back to that, like, first series Eccleston. Not that he was playing it that large, but where it's aiming a lot younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it does.
And I understand, like, I mean, when he brought the series back in 2005. It's now 2025.
Yeah.
24 is obviously the thing when this episode came out. It's 20 years later, so I can understand why he'd go, well, I'm not going to make the show for the people that have been watching it since 2005. I'm going to make it for the next generation of Doctor Who fans. So, okay, but it's just, I don't know, I feel like it feels a bit more alienating than... I feel like it was easier to get into Tennant's Doctor and Tennant's episodes than it is with Shooties.
I don't know. Obviously, like, Tennant's episodes are some of the best. I don't mind that it plays young, because I think that's appropriate for Doctor Who.
Okay.
I think that's where this belongs.
Yeah.
I take your point. Like, there is... But I watched it alone. That's a difference as well. You watch it with your family.
Yeah, this was like we all sat down Christmas Day when it was being shown live.
So I can understand when it's pitching really young that it might be a bit uncomfortable, because there's no child in that house.
Yeah.
I watched it on my own, so it's like, I just think of the audience, the kids watching it. The problem with designing a series that way, which is, I will mature it with the audience, is you're confining it to one era, to one period of one generation. Like Harry Potter, I saw a thing earlier, she wrote it, so it got darker as people grew up. But what about kids who now want to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
And aren't getting older and adjusting to the darkness. I don't know, I just find that Doctor Who, why should the tone get darker because the viewers are getting older? It should just be what it is. Okay. And then if you fall out with it as you get older, so be it. It's not like Power Rangers had to get darker as you got older. It's a kid's show, you grow out of it, you know? But you can still enjoy Doctor Who as not a child. It's not like... it's not what's the fucking show with all the vehicles or Paw Patrol or something. It's not that kind of child thing where it's, oh no, it's completely inaccessible to anyone above a certain age. It's a family show. But I take your point. But I think the tone of the show now is overall just so much more agreeable. I'm not saying to Tennant and that, but to Whittaker, certainly.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone would dispute. Well, no. I think shockingly people would dispute that.
But no smart person would.
No. Yeah, no sensible person.
Yes. I liked him having to work somewhere for a year, tonally and on the page. It was just the right pitch of quaint.
Yeah, so this is a Stephen Moffat episode.
Yeah.
He's written this Christmas episode. And this is a very typical Stephen Moffat episode. That is to say, Stephen Moffat episode, like, since Series 5 of Doctor Who.
Right.
Where there's a lot of stuff happening very quickly. Mm-hmm. And in there are some really good ideas.
Yeah.
And also in there are some, like, not as
less good ideas. Yeah.
That was a really good idea.
It was.
And I'm just thinking, like, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking this, what a brilliant way of introducing a new companion. He's stuck with them for a year. Yeah. He's getting to know them. He's building a connection with them.
It's almost like a cheat as well as a shortcut, as I don't have to organically develop their relationship over the course of a series. I can just kind of say they've been together for a year and do like Up. You know, just do my version of the Up opening sequence where, they know each other now.
Yeah.
You know?
Because that idea alone is like the Doctor's just stuck in a place for a year without the TARDIS, without any means of travel. So he is just going to wait until has the opportunity to escape.
Yeah.
That's just a brilliant idea for just a standalone episode of Doctor Who. Yeah. And it's 10 minutes of this episode?
Yeah, I can see her coming back.
Yeah, and she's not in the rest of the episode.
She's not in the rest of it. Yeah. The relationship with Anita was her name. That was quite affecting, I thought. This is good. Yeah, that was pretty much the best stuff, I think, about the episode.
Yeah, absolutely. That was when I was really like, oh wow, I'm really enjoying.
Well, because it's small. It's him it's the Doctor working in a hotel.
Yeah.
Good. That's the level.
Yeah. And I think Doctor Who it's always worked best when it kind of strips away a lot of its more magnificent elements.
100%. Yeah. A time hotel, which is kind of the key location, is such a basic idea. I'm surprised they haven't done it before.
They must have done some variation.
They must have, yeah.
I think like in series 6, so it was like Matt Smith's second season, they did a hotel where every room contains someone's greatest fear.
Oh, like room 101.
Yeah, and there's like a room for everyone. It's like an infinite hotel. And there's like a Minotaur, so there's something about like, Minos Maze. And, it's a bit clumsier, I think, the way that they handled it in that episode. But yeah, I'm sure they've done like hotels and stuff before. Right. But yeah, just like you said, just the simple idea of like...
Go stay in 1885.
Yeah.
Go stay in 20... Yeah.
This room is during the Blitz. This room is during the American Revolution. Brilliant.
Neither of which I'd want to go to.
No, but I think they do start with the Blitz, right?
Yeah, but it's funny because history is remembered by its massive change, right? So like, usually marked by calamity. So it's like, do you want to go back to I don't know, 1955, nothing much was going on. I mean, yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm glad the hopping around was kept to a minimum, and we were largely confined to the hotel itself.
They did keep it to a minimum,
Yeah.
but what's nicer is that wasn't just cold open window dressing.
Yeah.
Because I think
It'll
that's
all come back.
That's also happened in Doctor Who episodes before, where the first 5 minutes is Siberia 1812,
Yes.
London 2084.
Right.
And then the rest of the episode is just room
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
But no, they actually, like, he starts using the different time periods in the different rooms at the end to kind of bring about the resolution of the
It
episode.
feels like a quick way of establishing the idea of a time hotel.
Yeah.
Just go a different place. But no, they actually use exactly those locations again.
Yeah.
Yes. It might well be budget, that it's restricted to a certain number of locations. That's always a consideration for this show. But there is Disney money now, right?
Yeah.
But despite that, it retains a sense of charming modesty, as though they need to keep the purse strings tight. I think it's a good rule of thumb to have, in general, but for this show, as an operating system. Act as if you're financially limited.
I mean, you say that, but they do have, like, there's a dinosaur in this for, like, 2 seconds. And
Yeah, no,
then it
there
goes
is.
to,
I mean,
like, the Orient Express. And...
It's not the cheapest show.
No.
But as sci-fi shows go, and, the dinosaur's okay,
Yeah.
the CG, but, yeah. I liked the Pisa door. I thought that was a fun little joke.
Oh, it's like
Where he's
thinking,
crooked.
yeah, that's okay, that's good.
There was a good Mount Everest joke. So he goes and he nicks their rope, and they say, "Why are you taking that rope?" And he says, "Because it was there." Obviously, when asked why they were climbing Everest, the people said, "Because it's there."
Oh, right.
So that's
okay.
a neat little
Yeah,
joke.
see Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, no,
with,
he's good at
with
stuff
his
like
fun
that.
dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a bit of an anti-religion dig in there. So there's the shrine possessing people's minds. And I think the Doctor says basically how you start a religion.
Right.
Which, okay, I know Moffat is he's atheist or whatever.
Yeah.
But for a Christmas special, come on, I know where he stands, but shame on you, Stephen Moffat.
Does that not get cancelled out, though, by the final shot?
Yeah, I know. But still, it's like you had to get one little dig in there.
Yeah.
One flare-up of wokeitis. I think someone accuses the Doctor of mansplaining, and he says, when a doctor's in the room, it's mansplain central.
Yeah.
Couple of things there.
Yeah.
Firstly, can there be an instance anymore where a man explains something to a woman that isn't mansplaining? I know they say, oh no, it's when they know more about the subject than he does, but he still explains. But it feels like any time I see anything where a man explains something, oh, mansplaining. You don't know what is going on.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you. My understanding of the definition of mansplaining is what you just said.
Yeah.
It's like, they know what this is, but you're explaining it to them anyway.
Condescending to them, yeah.
The situation that she's in when he's explaining it to her, she has no fucking idea.
No human being.
Yeah, no human being would possibly know what's happening.
Yeah.
There's a lizard person in the room. Why would she think...
Exactly, like
she
how
has a
dare,
grasp of
how
what's
dare you
happening?
assume you have to explain to me about the lizard person? Secondly, the Doctor isn't a man.
Well...
I know he appears...
They are at the moment, right?
Well, no, he's never a man.
Is he never a man?
He's a Time Lord.
Oh, he's a Time Lord.
He appears as a man,
Yeah.
but he's not a man. A man is a human being.
Yeah.
He's a Time Lord. It's a different species.
Okay,
You wouldn't say an adult chimp was a man, would you?
No. Well, let's put it in the context of gender for a moment, which might be what the show is doing.
Gender, yes.
But the Doctor historically has also not been a man.
Yes, but mostly a man.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the line is bad.
Yeah.
But I think the point is they could have even made a joke about that. Have a cake and eat it kind of thing, where she accuses him of mansplaining. And he would say, it's doc-splaining. Or strictly it's Time Lord-splaining. Because that's like irritating.
Or no. You don't know what's happening.
But I think I would go with that. Because you can still have like, the woman can do the empowering shit. And then he can kind of answer in a way that's funny, accurate.
Yeah.
And still condescending. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still kind of mansplaining in a way to her, though he's not. Yeah, I know. But something.
Okay.
It has a nice Christmassy ending that ties everything together. I didn't particularly care for Nicola Coughlin's character, but it was a solid finale.
Okay.
And the theme that the Doctor shouldn't be alone and needs to find a friend is all well and good. But Ruby's only just gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long it's been for him, though he does still instinctively make 2 cuppas.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been that long, right? But even if it's been an age, she's only just left us.
Yes.
It would have had more power if he, for example, went a season or even just a few episodes without a companion.
Yeah.
Imagine such a thing.
Yeah.
I know it seems like the rule has to have a companion, but that'd be something, wouldn't it? He's alone for a bit, you know?
It's interesting, isn't it, considering the endless creativity afforded to a show like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's very rigid in its formula, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like
because I think that's the idea, right? It's like, as long as these things are met,
Yeah.
we can be wacky with everything else.
Yeah. And I think he has had non-human companions before, non-female companions
Yes.
even. But yeah, just the idea that like, oh no, it has to be a woman from London or that kind of area.
Yeah.
They have to kind of be from the modern day.
But that's
always
what's
has to
been-
travel with someone. Yeah.
That's what's been charming about the show, though, isn't it? That it's twee while being about the cosmos and all these things. But yeah, is it the best Gatwar episode so far? I think it probably is.
Its competition, I suppose, would be, for me, it would be...
The social media episode.
Yeah.
Bubble, or whatever it's called.
Dot and Bubble.
Dot and Bubble.
Is it better than Dot and Bubble?
I think it is.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Dot and Bubble's probably my favourite as well. I think other people, obviously, they think the war episode is probably the best one. You know, the landmine episode. People like
really?
that. I think people like that one.
Okay. Oh, well, Rogue, I think people liked. You didn't.
Is Rogue the Jonathan...
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Fine. I think because it's a Moffat episode, the landmine one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think people like that a lot because the idea of it, you know, it's kind of confined to the...
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care for that. Dot and Bubble was my favourite. But no, I think this one is probably the best so far.
Okay.
I think it did the most things that I found agreeable.
Okay. Well, I mean, it uses time a lot and very well too.
And it's very Christmassy.
And it's very Christmassy.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sticking to the assignment.
Yeah, and the ending, iconographically, it ties together sci-fi and Christmas, right?
Yeah.
In a very satisfying... Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I have a question about that,
Go on. Explain what it is.
Yeah, so the ending is... Basically, you find out over the course of the episode that this weapons manufacturer are trying to advance the development of a star.
Yeah.
They've got like this star in a briefcase, and they basically they need millions or thousands of years for this star to grow in power so they can use it as a weapon. So they take it to the Time Hotel because they're going to put it in one room, and then they get it out of another room. And even though you've just walked from one room to the other, that star has been kind of boiling for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
As a means of stopping that from happening, what's the name of the companion was?
Nicola Coughlin's the actress.
Nicola Coughlin. Joy's the name of the companion, isn't it?
That's right. Yes, of course it is. Yeah.
She kind of takes on the form of the star as a way of neutralizing it.
Yeah.
So now she is a star that's going to be in the universe.
Yes.
And you find out at the end of the episode that she is the star that leads the wise men to Bethlehem.
Right.
So, I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
I guess Jesus is canon to Doctor Who now.
Which is fine. I mean, that's the kind of a mad idea, but it's considering he's an anti-religion kind of guy, it does say that happened.
Yeah.
You know?
It does say that. But they, just to kind of hammer home the point in case anyone misses it, the titles come up, before the credits come up, it says on screen, Bethlehem, year 0001.
Right.
Would it be...
Oh, here we go.
No. This is a valid question, Sam.
Okay.
Christ hasn't been born yet, right? Or he's being born that day at the very least.
Yeah.
So would it be year 1 or would it be year 0? Because BC is before Christ.
I don't think there was ever a year 0.
Okay. Or do you think it went from -1 to 1?
1 BC to 1 AD. I think so, yes.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Right.
I could be totally wrong there.
Yeah.
But I think that's true.
Okay.
Because I think there's a weird thing when we enter a new millennium. It wasn't the year 2000. It was actually 2001.
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing. Yeah, I think.
Right.
So no, I don't think there was ever a 0.
Okay.
Because, what would it be? 0 Bakad. What?
It would just be 0, wouldn't it? Because it's or 0 AD, I suppose.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be 0 after anything. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, yeah, there have been no years yet.
No
since
years.
before Christ.
No years, but time, but no years.
Yeah. Well, the unit of measurement is years, so...
I suppose so. So we're in March of 0.
Yeah. You don't start with 1 centimetre or something. You start with no centimetres.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Well, no, you don't start with 0, do you? You start with whatever the thing is. You can't start at nothing centimetres. It would have to be 0 point something.
No, but you don't...
Let's not go into
you don't
this.
measure something from 1 centimetre.
No, of course, no. You don't go up from 1.
Yeah.
No. Yes, that's true.
You go up from 0.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't think there was a year 0.
Okay.
But I stand to be corrected.
Okay. Because I think... if the whole idea was that they did year 1 because they thought, it'd be too confusing if we did 0. I think the fact that it's Bethlehem and the fact it's a star, I think most people would get it by that point.
Yes.
And you've been putting years on the screen, so if you want to be consistent with the format, fair enough.
It's also like a joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 0, 0, 0 rather than just 1.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. No, I was fine with that.
Okay.
And I assume if it is 1 in the show, he would have at least done that basic Google.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Okay, I don't know. It's weird to do a recommendation or not for a single Doctor Who episode.
I don't think I can recommend a single Christmas special of Doctor Who.
Yeah,
but it is the best one so far for me of the new era. So make of that what you will.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess, like, broadly speaking, the new era, is it like...
It's a lot better than what's come before it.
Okay.
But it's still... I don't know, George. I don't know if it's worth recommending on its own merits or just it's still such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And it still is, which is amazing. That I went through that grueling week to week.
You did, didn't you?
But it still hasn't left me, obviously, because I still find it refreshing when it's good.
Okay.
So, sure, I'll recommend it. Why not?
Yeah. Well, at the very least, if you do decide to embark on the new version of Doctor Who, you've got this episode to look forward to.
Sure.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's go with that.
Okay, Gavin and Stacey, the finale.
Yeah, this is also a weird one because this is also a single episode.
Yes.
But it's the finale.
It's the Christmas season episode for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Firstly, they look old.
Yeah. How many years? When did Gavin and Stacey start airing?
2007.
Okay, it's like 20-something. No, not 20-something. 18 years.
17 years. Yeah.
17 years. From start to finish.
So, no, they should look older.
Yeah, they certainly do.
I don't know if we've ever talked about the show, because why would we?
Yeah.
But I like Gavin and Stacey, like the original series.
Okay.
I think partly because of James Corden's American ascension and James Corden, and partly because of its massive popularity, there's a certain critical snootiness around the show.
Okay.
The same way there was for Only Fools and Horses later on, anyway. Beloved British sitcoms whose latter days maybe obscured the merits of what came before.
Okay.
Anyhow, the original 3 series I like. They're charming, nicely written, they have likeable characters and actual pathos. I did not like the 2019 special.
Why?
Well, that was a greatest hits reel.
Okay.
It was, remember that catchphrase, remember that joke? They just did that.
Right.
This is better than that.
Yeah.
I have scant memories of that special, given that I only watched it the once, and it was a pre-COVID world. Talk about ADBC.
Yeah.
This one felt better minute by minute. It still did the callback thing at a rate that displeased me, but it was less severe.
I think it was more justified this time, outside of the context that this is the final episode of the show. And I think they have said that, like, we really couldn't do anything else after this.
No, it's evidently, clearly the ending.
Yeah. Outside of the fact that it's called the finale, there really is nowhere left for the story to go.
No.
The fact that, like, Smithy's getting married in this episode, like, the characters would naturally reminisce about, oh, remember when we first met? Remember this song?
That's
remember this
fine.
time?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels a bit more justified.
More justified in universe,
Yeah.
Sure. I know Christmas specials in general, but especially for shows like this, are basically fashioned as knees-ups. But there is an excess of house party, stag do, dancing about, remember when, camaraderie stuff. It was nice when that crashed down a bit, when they realised they were getting older at the party.
Yeah.
I don't know what took them so long. I'm there. I'm 30 and I'm already there. Rob Brydon, still good. Probably the highlight in the cast. But Ruth Jones still has it too.
Yeah.
She has that one line where she's peddling around tourists. Yeah. And she's kind of, monetizing wokeness. But she's like, oh, love, I'm just speaking my truth. I find your abusive tone very triggering. I found that funny, obviously. Yeah. That attitude and that voice still has something. I like that they highlighted the relationship between Smithy and Mick. That was nice.
Is that something that kind of went unsaid in the show, or did they slowly build up to that?
No, it's kind of, they just did it for this episode, really.
Okay.
So that's kind of an interesting angle. I don't believe Nessa would know more about Smithy than his fiancée, even if she was a bit of a snotty cow. And even if he's batting, which he is, she's still marrying him. So there must be some genuine affection there. They never really addressed that, right? Because he's not rich.
Yeah, I don't know what she would be getting out of that.
Right. Other than, I guess, a sense of like, oh, I'm better than him, so he's like enthralled to me.
Yeah, maybe that's enough for some people.
Yeah.
But
I didn't think it was justified.
Well,
like she would be this way, but also still marrying him, and clearly likes his son.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's a shame that they felt the need to characterize her as a bitch. Really.
Well, that's the thing. Like, because everyone wants Smithy and Nessa to end up together.
Yes.
You kind of have to villainize her.
You don't,
especially since this is only her second episode.
You don't in a more nuanced adult show.
But but they didn't have time.
No, but okay. Thing is, I know this is functionally pantomime for your mum and dad. That's the thing, right? But they didn't have to do her like that. She could have just been wrong for him, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Nessa's also wrong for Smithy.
Okay.
I'll say that. Does that make me a Welsh Uncle Tom?
Well, why? Well,
Benedict Arnold of mainstream BBC comedy. They're just not. They're not right for each other. I don't buy. Okay. One of the funny things about the show was the raw animal magnetism that existed between the two, as they otherwise despised each other.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I think when people have sex as friends with benefits or anything with a professed unfeeling. They're lying if they insist romance never enters the equation. And I don't like depictions of hot young people who are fuck buddies and don't catch feelings, as the awful kids say. But this is different. I believe those two have a bizarre sexual chemistry, not love.
Okay.
I don't believe they're in love with each other.
Do you believe that they would mistake that for love?
No, because I guess they haven't done anything for like a decade at this point, right?
Yeah.
They have the kid.
Yeah.
Now it's the last time they had sex. So I believe there is like this like fucking hate her, but I want to fuck her.
Right.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in love with each other. They just haven't spent enough time around each other to be in love with each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, she's not right for him either. But I know that's like going against culture.
Yeah.
When Neil, the baby, got the guitar out and started singing Blackbird, that was a very low point indeed for me.
Why? Because he was good?
Oh, he's not though. No,
but
yeah, it's like a nice voice.
Yeah.
But it's that same affected bullshit voice every young singer has. There's a male version of it and a female version of it. You know, was all kind of airy and just, it's awful.
Well, that's the thing. When he got the guitar out, I was convinced that he was going to be bad. Like, that's going to be
That was going to be a joke.
Yeah. It's like they all go along with it because it's nice.
No, I didn't think so. Only because that character there's not remotely comic relief. There's no comic relief to that character.
Yeah, which is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a boring, just kind of handsome young boy.
All of the kids, like it's strange.
Yeah,
because,
the Billy, innit?
Yeah, Gavin and Stacey's children.
Yeah.
There was a massive plot line in the show about the fact that they were struggling to have kids together.
Yes.
And then at the end, they finally managed to.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the exciting news that kind of brought you into like the final bit of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we just haven't spent time with those kids.
I don't have much of a problem with that, if only, like, it's been however long it has. And I feel like if they were lingering on the fact they couldn't have children, that would break another rule for me. And I think where it's like, why is this coming up now? Like, it was important for them 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not, like, they might occasionally go, God, remember when we thought we couldn't have kids? They might not even remember that period.
Yeah.
They've had kids for 10 years. And it's also, I know you're saying, like, they wanted it for so long, why aren't we getting to know them?
Yeah,
but
like, if
also
it's such a triumph for them, let's like indulge in that.
But don't you think it's like that joke about someone who never ever speaks, and then finally they say something that's a complaint, and the other person goes, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
It's like they got kids now. It's like all that trauma and drama is over. It's like in the past.
Yeah, I wouldn't want them to, like...
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, to kind of wallow in
Yeah.
past trauma. I just found it weird that...
That we never see them at all, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. No, fair. Yeah, they kind of dispose of them so we don't have to spend any time with them. It's like, oh, they're being minded for the weekend. Like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Show got them out of the way so we can... But they knew that people just wanted to spend time with the established characters, you know? They wanted to go out to the club with them again. And
Yeah.
I get it. It's not for us, you know? As much as I like the original show, but these Christmas specials aren't for us. I don't know why Anna Maxwell Martin was in it. She played the Reverend, the one marrying them.
Oh, right, okay.
She's like quite a big... She's in Ludwig, you know. She's
in a lot of things at the moment.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Weird. I do not remotely believe that Gwen would be with Dave Coaches.
Right, okay. It has been a while since I've seen Gavin and Stacey, so obviously I know that like Dave Coaches was with Nessa for a while.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of interesting that like she genuinely doesn't seem to care that he's with her now.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that relationship ended. We're on good terms, but like
Yeah.
it means nothing to me that you're with someone that like I know.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know if it does feel implausible that those two...
Not implausible because of her relationship to Nessa, just implausible that she'd be attracted to him at all.
Well, yeah, because it's not just Nessa, it's Bryn, right? Because Bryn and Dave have a weird, strained relationship.
Because Dave knows about the fishing trip.
Yeah. Which props to them for never telling us.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I had no expectations going into this, or if I did, that it would be a train wreck. So I didn't put anything into it. I did laugh periodically, knowing it was never going to hit its former heights. Nothing to lose. But yes, there were two rules for me for it to maintain a shred of my respect. Nessa and Smithy couldn't get married, but I knew that was asking too much.
Okay.
That's what the people wanted, and why else would it exist?
Yeah.
And they couldn't reveal the secret of the fishing trip, which they didn't. And frankly, that was the main one for me, given my relationship to artistic ambiguity.
Yeah.
So yes, points for that. We have to give them points for that. I don't imagine I'll remember much of it come next Christmas.
Okay.
But it was okay. I think the headline is, could have been much worse. But people seem to fucking love it. My father liked it, my mother liked it, and that's really all that matters. It doesn't matter that I didn't like it.
Yeah.
They shouldn't care that I didn't like it.
Well, yeah, how many people watched this? Like 19 million people, I think?
19 million.
19 million watched this.
Yeah, that harkens back to like old BBC days.
It's kind of nice, isn't it? Because like the first season, I think, of Gavin and Stacey, maybe 500,000 people
BBC Three it was on, I think.
Yeah, less than 500,000. Like 200,000 people watched it.
Yeah.
And over time, considering it's that there's only been 3 British seasons, so like 18 episodes
Yeah.
and a couple of specials.
Yeah.
To reach the point now where it's, 19 million viewers.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah, it became sort of popular, I guess. Well, no, it was popular when it was on after the first series.
Yeah.
Certainly after the second, but I guess its popularity has just kind of grown since then, you know. I think they show it a lot on BBC Three or something, you know, like 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, which remains inexplicable why that's the show that's never going away.
Okay, so it's interesting. I think the next thing we're reviewing is
Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl. All 3 of these aired on Christmas Day in the UK. We had Doctor Who, we had Gavin and Stacey, we had Wallace and Gromit. Not in that order, but like, you know, they were very, very close to each other. We watched Doctor Who when it was on. Mm-hmm. Gavin and Stacey, we didn't get around till Boxing Day.
Okay.
Wallace and Gromit, I was ready to watch Wallace and Gromit. I was like sitting there, fucking ready to go.
Yeah.
But everyone was just kind of like faffing about and just talking and like, you know, people falling asleep. And so it reached the point where I think it was like 1:30 in the morning finally. Right. My aunt and like that side of the family, they went home.
Okay.
And like while the faff was happening, because it was like 4 or 5 hours after we watched Doctor Who, like nothing was happening. They had BBC Three on for whatever reason. Okay. So I saw the second half of Die Hard 3
on Christmas Day.
Okay. And then just a bunch of 2 pints of lager and a pack of crisps episodes.
Have you ever seen it before?
No.
Oh, that's interesting.
What's going on there, Sam?
I'm very familiar with that show. Okay. I watched it a lot when I was a kid. My grandmother used to watch it. So I used to watch it with her a lot, with a bag of Butterkiss popcorn.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
It's not good, no.
Well, it's just double entendres, right? That's kind of it.
It's just sex jokes. Yeah. It's just British laddie sex jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of all it is. But it's amazing that is the perennial on BBC Three. Like, that will never, ever not be on. They stopped making it years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't go away. I just find it funny, that's the show. Anyway, are we done with Gavin and Stacey?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Wallace and Gromit. Vengeance Most Fowl.
So we finally got around to Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
2:30 in the morning.
Okay.
On Christmas Day, because they left. They went home, and I turned to my family and was like, "Look, I've been waiting very patiently. I want to watch Wallace and Gromit."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, all right." So in fairness to them,
okay,
like they got out like munchies and crisps and stuff. So we like
2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we properly like sat down and watched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit wonderful, isn't it? Yeah.
It's such a relief after we've had kind of lackluster sequels to not just Chicken Run, but to Shaun the Sheep as well. And I don't remember enough about A Matter of Loaf and Death to know whether that was a disappointment or not.
Yeah.
Because I think I've only seen it once. Mm-hmm. So I won't comment on its quality because I genuinely don't remember
All the shorts are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so nice that there's just like an incorruptible charm to Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
The way, like even Aardman were like, no, we got to make this good.
Yeah, Aardman aren't what they once were, but I am so happy that this particular franchise remains untarnished.
Yeah.
Wallace and Gromit has always been around for us. I think 89 the first one was, right? And then 93. Yeah. And it's great. But I don't have a deep connection to it. Like, I really like everything they've done.
Yeah.
But I was never a major fan as a child. Nevertheless, there's something that happens when that music kicks in.
Yeah.
It's just like connected to your Britishness, I think, and the DNA, you know?
I mean, talk about maximum impression from minimum content. Like, Gavin and Stacey was 3 seasons. Wallace and Gromit is
4 short films and a film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's maybe like 3 hours, now with this new film, like 5 hours of Wallace and Gromit content in total.
In total. And it's like a British icon.
Like bigger than Robbie Williams even. Like people in America know what Wallace and Gromit is.
Curse the Were-Rabbit did well in America.
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up winning the Oscar, obviously.
Yeah.
Wallace's voice is like 2% different because obviously Peter Sallis passed away.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, what they're going to do about Wallace's voice, and they just found a guy who did a really good impression.
Well, after you adjust to it, it's fine. Like I didn't know if I didn't know it wasn't Peter Sallis, I don't think I would suss it.
Yeah,
or I would just chalk it up to his being older, you know, and the voice subtly changing.
Yeah.
Ben Whitehead is the replacement.
Yeah, but it's interesting because he's younger, right, than Sallis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like a young guy, you know.
Yeah.
He does a cracking job, and I like that he came from in-house.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked for Aardman, and there's a lovely continuity to that, you know. Like, he was always there. Wallace is the world's greatest over-inventor, of course. But the pat-o-matic, he can't give Gromit a pat. Here's the thing. Happily, it became central to the emotional arc of the film.
Yeah.
But that did make me very angry. Because Because I love nothing more than to give Gromit a pat.
Yeah, and he's the only one that can, and he just won't for whatever reason.
So I was very happy when they resolved that issue.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's like this film in particular or whether it's just getting older.
Yeah.
But like, what's Wallace's problem, you know?
I know.
There's something like fundamentally wrong with that man.
Yeah.
Because all of his inventions are basically geared towards just not having to do boring shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know...
Well, he's an over-inventor.
Yeah, he's an over-inventor.
It's things that you wouldn't even think need correcting. Or...
Rather than having to get out of bed in the morning and dress yourself, he's got a machine that does that for him. He doesn't have to pour his own cereal. He doesn't have to make... But yeah, now it's reaching the point where like he's not even petting his dog anymore.
Yeah, exactly. There's no like love left in it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. See, for me, Gromit is in the same camp as Stephen Fry and Carl Pilkington.
Well, when he dies, you're gonna be sad.
Yeah, and Beetlejuice. When they go, things will just be. I'll now be forever conscious I live in a universe where they don't. And fortunately, while I may outlive Wallace and Gromit as a franchise, Gromit will never die. Yeah. Surely, Gromit can never die.
Well, I don't know. It almost happened because it's funny.
Yeah, it always almost happens.
Yeah, it's funny because my cousin told me, and I don't know whether this has been debunked now, but he told me before the film came on that like, oh, they ran out of. They ran out of the clay that they used.
They're just gonna kill Gromit.
Well, yeah, they ran out of the clay, the specific clay they used for Gromit, because that like company shut down or whatever.
Yeah, no, I have heard that. Yeah, but I like that being. Oh, therefore we have to.
Well, that's the thing.
The clay always runs out.
Yeah, when Gromit is like dangling over the canal and he's looks like he's gonna fall from the viaduct, it's like, oh shit, are they actually gonna kill Gromit?
No, I didn't think they'd actually kill Gromit, but they never will. They might stop making films before we die.
Yeah,
but Gromit will never die.
No,
whereas the other three I mentioned will.
Yeah,
unfortunately, and probably before us. So, anyway. Yeah, those Aardman faces, especially when they're shocked or squinting, are just intrinsically hilarious.
Yeah.
A squinting Aardman face, there's nothing like it. As is typical, it's brimming with visual gags.
Yeah.
I was pausing basically every other frame to make sure that I was catching everything. A highlight for me was Walkies on the Wild Side with the dog version cover art of Lou Reed's Transformer.
Oh,
you can see Gromit's record collection and Walkies on the Wild Side.
That's always fun. The one that everyone's picked up on is Virginia Woolf.
Virginia Woolf.
He's reading the book.
Yeah. There was also the notice in the zoo, no swearing near the parrot. I like that. And the pub name next to Peter Kay's retired copper was the Codger's Rest. I like Peter Kay in it. I thought he was funny. Feathers McGraw is great. Yeah. And still at large.
Again, like, how much screen time has Feathers McGraw had over the course of this franchise?
Yeah.
Because The Wrong Trousers, as someone was talking to me about this, like, before I saw the film, like, when you're a kid, when you see those films as a kid, you remember them as these, like, big epics.
Yeah.
They're all, like, 20 minutes long.
Yeah. Time kind of behaves strangely when you're a child, doesn't it?
So, I mean, Feathers McGraw, we've probably, again, seen, like, this 12 minutes of him in existence.
Yeah.
And what an impact that
character's had. I think that's probably true for a lot of, like, Darth Vader. If you, like, actually totted up screen time, but it's not that much, really. No. Considering it's, like, number one character evs, you know.
But, I mean, Darth Vader... Well, okay, doesn't really make my point for me, because I was going to say Darth Vader existed through, like, merchandising and, like, the image of Darth Vader is out there so much. But, you know, you can get, like, Feathers McGraw mugs and stuff, can't you?
Yeah, I saw a bottle of water thing. I was thinking, oh, that'd be a perfect Jordan gift. But yeah, the gnomes as well, they were genuinely kid movie creepy.
Yeah.
The lion.
It's nice because, like, I think every Wallace and Gromit film has had something genuinely creepy in it.
Yes, if you're a kid.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Feathers McGraw was, like, a source of a lot of people's childhood trauma.
Yes. There's a dog in one of them that I didn't like.
Yeah, the one from A Close Shave. He's kind of scary. I personally was really freaked out by the robot on the moon.
Yes.
In A Grand Day Out.
Yeah.
For me, he's the scariest of the three.
The scariest one.
Because he just, like... I mean, you know, one of the charming things about Feathers McGraw is he's completely non-emotive.
Yes.
Like, a static face.
Yes.
Black eyes.
Yeah.
It's all through, like, his body movement, where you kind of get a sense of, like, what he's thinking and what he's doing.
Yeah.
But the robot on the moon in A Grand Day Out, the only way he can convey his thoughts and emotions is through his arms moving.
Right.
It's just like a cube, basically, a static cube.
Yeah.
And there was something so uncanny about that when I was younger.
Yeah.
It really freaked me out. Like, when he's barreling towards Wallace on the moon, like, waving his arms, like, take me with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that freaked me out.
Yeah, I think Feathers McGraw isn't creepy so much as sinister. He's like an Machiavellian Bond villain. It's not like, oh, he scares me. It's like, oh, he's got something up his sleeve, up his flipper.
They even play into that, don't they? He's got like a little white seal. The white
seal,
that he's petting in the zoo.
Yeah, exactly. The lion was terrifying.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on the little joke there?
I don't think so.
There's a sign in the zoo very early on. You basically have to pause it,
Okay.
And it says, if the lion escapes again, please keep calm and head for the exits.
Okay.
Then when we meet him later, he has plasters on his arse where he's obviously been tranquilized.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I love that. And Wallace's final invention, the boot gun.
Yeah.
There are two actual jokes in the film. Reboot, right?
Yeah.
And give it more welly.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Wellington's.
Yeah.
I was also thinking booterang, because it kind of comes back.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the film in microcosm, which leads me to believe that Wallace and Gromit forms a vital pillar of your psychology. Just the pun pillar, It's overall not quite as epic as Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
I think it lacks the visual flair of Were-Rabbit as well. Because I think Were-Rabbit had more of a visual identity.
Yeah.
It's really leaning into the kind of Hammer House of horror.
Yes.
Like, really, like, hyperbolic horror visuals.
Yeah.
That shot.
The vicar,
when they're in the church after the were-rabbits raided like the vegetable supply, and it zooms out through the stained glass window where it's got the silhouette of the rabbit, and the doors blow open and leaves, and it's really like
cinematic. Yeah.
This didn't feel as cinematic.
No, and the climax does a lot to remedy it.
It certainly has its moments. Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, Hammer Horror informs all of Wallace and Gromit, right? That's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
But yes, the Curse of the Were-Rabbit is very much like a 50s monster movie.
Yeah.
This isn't that.
No, it's kind of more noir-y, I guess.
I suppose so. Yeah, well, again, because the villain's not a monster. It's a Bond villain.
Yeah, so he's kind of like, draped in shadow and when he's in the zoo. Like when he's playing the organ, it's very like bombastic.
Yeah, evil genius, mastermind, as opposed to Dracula. Yeah, for one thing, Aardman films never looked better. It's not as distinctive, but just in terms of the clarity and the detail and all that kind of thing.
Well, I think I saw like a behind the scenes thing, and they said that for this film, I don't know whether they started with this film. Maybe they started with Chicken Run.
Mm-hmm.
They're silicon now. They're not clay anymore. They're silicon. But they still, I think Nick Park said that he still makes a point of pushing his fingerprints into every single one.
Right.
Just as like a, they know that's what people like about Aardman. Yeah.
I mean, for another thing, a narrowboat chase, brilliant. It's on the money in every, tonally, geographically, but also the energy and the humour and the detail. I tried as much as I could to ignore the logistics of the Enterprise because I wanted to be a big kid.
Yeah.
But it's as insanely impressive as it ever was, Like its predecessor, it deserves awards for photography and lighting and design. But we don't think of these films like that, which is a shame.
Yeah. Well, literally, I think the first shot is during, a thunderstorm. Yeah. And you can see, the rain droplets hitting the ground. It's like, how do you do that?
Exactly.
This is the first fucking shot, and I'm already like, nope, no idea.
Yeah, brilliant. And I know the length of their films is partly due to sheer workload, but again, it demonstrates that restriction is generative.
Yeah.
75 minutes for a family film, perfection.
Yeah.
Done. All I got really, I loved it.
Yeah, no, strong recommendation. Very strong recommendation. And I think its regionalness and its quaintness and its specificity weirdly makes it kind of accessible for everyone.
Universal. Yeah, the specific is the universal.
Yeah. Like the fact that it's so British at times.
Right.
People that are not British will like that about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kraven the Hunter. Ooh, it's bad.
Okay.
It's become a trend that the end of the year gives us gold, frank nonsense, and meh. This is frank nonsense.
Okay.
Appropriately a fat old turkey. Okay, so what's it about? He gets bitten by a lion, which has been shot, and a bit of lion blood drops into his bloodstream. Which would be the joke of the superhero origin story.
Yeah, I was bitten by a radioactive lion, and now I'm
Lion Man.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's directed by J.C. Chandor, who has in the past given us Margin Call, All Is Lost, and A Most Violent Year, all of which are very good films, and all very different films.
Well, Kraven's different, give him that.
The body of this franchise, the Sony whatever it is, just fights quality like an infection.
Yeah.
I kind of hated Aaron Taylor-Johnson from the off, with his smug face and his self-satisfied abs.
Okay, how much of that do you think is his fault, and how much of that is that the film has just, eaten him,
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to tell, but he doesn't help matters.
Okay.
He even talks irritatingly.
Okay.
I guess it's been a little while since I've seen him, so it's possible he's become that now. But I used to kind of like him, which is, he was kick-ass. It's a shame.
Yeah.
He's also basically invulnerable in this, and if you hadn't worked that out, everyone says it, including himself.
Yeah.
It's 15 rated, which is ridiculous. when he was using a tiger fang to stab Russian gangsters through the neck, in my head, the old Spider-Man theme was just playing. It's like, enough with the violent superhero shit. Enough with it.
Well, it's so weird, isn't it? Because the early films in this little continuity that is now hopefully dead and buried.
Yep.
They resisted becoming violent and
Yes.
having swearing and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people were like, so what we were saying in the Venom review that we did before, right? Is they were kind of saying like, oh no, that's why these don't work, because they're being sanitized.
Right.
And therefore you can't allow these things to properly
Yeah. This has not
flourish.
been sanitized in that way.
No.
But we were having a conversation about it the other day, and you reminded me that these are the villain films. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course they are. These are like the Sinister Six.
Oh yeah.
They're not.
He's not. Like, he is not a villain in this.
Not at all.
No.
Venom isn't really a villain.
No.
Madam Web isn't a villain.
But he's definitely not a villain, right? Because he's like...
Yeah.
He's going after a guy that's like...
A villain.
Yeah. Like hunting. Is he I don't even remember what Rhino's up to.
Something like that, innit?
Yeah.
His father's a bad guy as well, right?
Well, his father's a bad guy.
There's also like the assassin guy
Yeah, well, who works for the
who
Rhino.
works for the... Yeah.
Well, I think the Rhino approaches Russell Crowe plays his father.
Yeah.
Doing Russian
Doing
accent.
Russian.
And the Rhino's like, oh, I think we should work together. And Russell Crowe's like, you disgust me.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, the Rhino becomes like the villain. So I
Yeah.
think he's trying to kill Russell Crowe,
Okay.
which Aaron Taylor-Johnson doesn't like Russell Crowe,
No.
and in fact kills him at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he's like protecting him.
I don't know. Is the whole idea like, oh, they're trying to use animal DNA to like become to, you know, these half human, half... Is that the villain plot?
I don't think it is.
It's not, is it?
Because
Because all the villains were animal based.
not the assassin guy.
No, I think doesn't he have like a animal type name?
No, he's
It's
like
about, like his hunting skills or
no,
something
no.
like that.
What was he called? Like the foreigner or something, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he just looks at people and they freeze.
But
That's
there are
what-
other, like, his brother ends up being
Oh, the chameleon.
the chameleon.
Yeah.
The father is like, I don't know, the ox. What is he?
No,
is he
he's-
anything?
No,
he's not anything.
He's just Russian.
But we also have Rhino, and there's a lot of animal-based stuff in the
Yeah,
film.
I can see why they paired
Yeah.
those ones together. But as you point out, yeah, like they would fight together in the Sinister Six. I don't know why they're
Yeah, I don't
against
know.
each other here.
There's a really shit CGI wolf and lion.
There's a really
and
shit
giraffe
CGI everything.
and buffalo
Yeah.
and leopard. If wildlife is going to be a significant aspect of your film, you might want to put some of your $120 million budget into the visual effects.
I'm sure we don't have as many trained lions lying around as we used to.
No, I know, and we talked about animals are used sparingly
Yeah.
these days. But if you're going to do a film where it's like animals,
Yeah.
you know,
It'd be like if they did a Planet of the Apes film, but they were like, oh, we can't do CGI apes well. Just like
yeah,
accept
fuck it. Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, that's your film.
Right. Russell Crowe offers early on as his philosophy for hunting that things that kill legends become legend. Tell that to coward Robert Ford, as he is famously known. Yeah, he does that foreigner speaking English thing of your mother take on life. But later when his son rebels against him, he asks, what's going on with you? Which feels like an Americanism.
Yeah.
It's also unclear why he speaks to them in English. Surely he would insist upon Russian.
Yeah.
That character would insist upon Russian.
Well, they go to like a private school, so it's the idea that he's kind of encouraging them to like assimilate into.
I don't. Is it? I don't know.
I'm bringing that.
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
I
yeah.
have no idea if it's even brought up in the film.
The chameleon, Fred Heckinger, who's in Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's singing, doing like a lounge act kind of thing.
Yeah.
Doing a Harry Styles cover.
Okay.
Has that become a standard now? Harry Styles?
Right.
It's a sign of the times he's singing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have seen neither the first two Venoms nor Morbius, so maybe they're all like this, but this is similar to Madam Web and Venom 3. It feels like a shit superhero film from the noughties, not the flavour of poop we are currently being served.
Yeah.
Which is to say that it doesn't have as much of that snarky, self-referential, too cool for school thing. It takes itself pretty seriously.
Oh, this is the most straight-faced of the three, I think. Right?
Yeah, this is a terrible film, but that's one aspect I perversely appreciate.
I think that's why, for me,
Yeah.
it's not... Of the three, I would say that Venom 3 is the one that I dislike the most. They're all
Okay.
very, very close together.
I am the opposite.
Okay.
It was the one I hated the least. Venom 3 was the one I hated the
I
least.
see. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
I think this is the worst, probably.
Yeah, But I think the reason I don't think that is because it does take itself seriously.
Fine, I understand.
Whereas, like I said, in Venom 3, he's going like, let's go get chicken nuggets, and like all through the film.
I know. I just for whatever reason I found this the least offensive. And obviously, the Venom, the least offensive.
Yeah.
Golden Raspberries came out today, and Venom is not recognised there.
No.
But they have recognised the other two. So, I don't know what the consensus is. But yeah, we've had like the trilogy of Sony villain Spider-Man films this year.
I guess like part of it might be because like Venom, there's actual effort that needs to be put into representing Venom, because he's a totally CG character. Whereas with Madam Web and Kraven, they're just people, you know?
Yes, I think aside from everything we've said, that how bad it is and how bad everything about it is, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who's meant to be the likeable lead, is so unlikable.
Yeah.
I know Tom Hardy, but like Tom Hardy's become like this weird thing.
Yeah. I think people still like Tom Hardy as well.
They do.
Right?
People like Tom Hardy. Dakota Johnson is a weird fact of culture. Like, she can be good, she can be bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aaron Taylor-Johnson is he's the new leading man, isn't he? Was Bond. He was going to be Bond.
Yeah.
And he is loathsome in this.
Yeah.
Which is a problem for the lead of your film. Anyway, it's over now.
That's your one positive thing to say. It ended.
It's all ended. The Sony.
Oh,
it's
all,
over.
It's all gone. Yeah,
it's all over now. So that's it.
Yeah, I mean, needless to say, it's not a recommendation at all. Like, it's not even an enjoyable hate watch, is it?
No, it's not. It's bad. It's just a bad film. Paddington in Peru.
Paddington in Peru.
I don't have a lot to say.
Would you say you have barely anything to say?
You'd say that.
I did say that.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
It doesn't feel as special as the first two.
I guess my big takeaway from it is that I really feel like I need to go back and watch those first two again.
Yes.
Because those were films that I digested them and moved on. Like when I watched them both before. And it seems like over the past couple of years, their status in the culture has really kind of ascended. Yeah. People really like those films.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a whole joke, wasn't it? In what's the Nicolas Cage film with Pedro Pascal? With a long time.
The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Yeah, it's like a joke.
No, it's not The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
No?
That's the thing. It's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's a joke, isn't it? That Pedro Pascal's third favourite movie is Paddington 2.
Yes.
And Nicolas Cage is like, you fucking idiot. And then they watch it together and they cry.
Yeah, no, they're good. The first two are good.
So it's like, I really need to go back and rewatch them. Because watching this now, knowing what reputation those films have, this can't be on par with the other two.
It's not. It's not as special, but I think that's partly because the quality of the first two was unexpected.
Yeah.
Nobody thought we were going to get a good film out of Paddington.
Different director as well, right?
This is a different director.
Yeah, which probably contributes to that.
Yeah, but we know what to expect now. That's part of it. And this is more Paddington. It's solid Paddington. It's not quite as good. It's still charming. The Home for Retired Bears, for example.
Yeah.
Wishall still brings it. Olivia Colman is good, as always. Of course, she's the villain from the off, but we aren't kids.
No.
Kids probably won't know that.
Yeah.
Antonio Banderas, he slips with ease into his family-friendly mode. In this, kind of taking on the mantle of Hugh Grant's character, playing multiple wiggy, fake teethy roles.
It was a bit, not strange for me, but like I think he did a similar thing in one of the SpongeBob films. He plays like a pirate character.
The pirate captain.
Yeah, it's like, this is literally that guy again, pretty much.
Okay. I haven't seen that SpongeBob film, so... Yeah.
I guess there's nothing wrong with that because he's in a different enough context that it doesn't feel like he's repeating himself.
Right.
But I was just thinking of that guy. And Puss in Boots, obviously, but,
again, it's him and Spy Kids. It's him doing family-friendly.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not remembering the earlier films well, but it feels like the family were given a bit more focus this time.
That's interesting, because I was wondering if they'd actually taken focus away from them a little bit.
No, it's unless I'm misremembering... In this one, they all have their own little arc, their own little story, and that didn't feel like that was the case with the first two.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Hugh Bonneville is kind of the big one, isn't it? Because his whole thing is that he needs to learn to take risks.
Yeah, and the wife, she wants the family to... She wants to keep the family together.
Yeah, she kind of is, like, upset about the fact that they're kind of growing apart. Yeah. The son is just a lazy bum.
Yeah, he's got to, like, get over that.
Yeah, well, he invents things so that he doesn't have to do anything. He's like Wallace.
Indeed. It's like when you actually go to an invention, like a science fair, and do something with it. Yeah,
and then the daughter is just going to college.
Yeah, she didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah. That's kind of what it feels like. It's like, we'll give them like one thing so we remember that they're there.
Yeah.
But like I said, the daughter's going to college and that's basically it. The son it's like it bookends the film. You get a bit of him in the beginning, a bit of him.
I'm not saying it was all well handled or anything like that. I don't remember that being the case. It felt like it was Paddington and all the family together.
Okay.
You know? It didn't feel like each one had their own little story.
Yeah.
I wanted to get off the boat sooner than I should have.
Okay.
But not on there for a long, long time. But it was like, obviously part of it's Fitzcarraldo kind of homage. But it's nice to look at the Amazon and Peru and all that. But it's not an aesthetic that massively appeals to me.
No, and
Like South America's like not quite my thing.
yeah, and I think Transformers: Rise of the Beasts was also, that was set in Peru as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was ugly. That was ugly.
Yeah, but I think they still use a lot of like similar locations.
No, they went
in
to
that.
the city in Peru, like Lima or whatever it is. But otherwise, it was just the barren wasteland thing that Transformers does.
Okay.
In this, we're in the Amazon.
Yeah, well, they're in the jungle for a bit as well, though, right?
Are they? Okay,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't look like this. It looks better
Oh, yeah,
in
no,
Paddington.
this is more colourful.
Yeah,
and more vibrant.
Yeah, no, this looks nice.
But that's my point. It's kind of like, oh, it's the same bits of Peru. Like it's
But it's the Amazon.
yeah, but like
yeah.
that's it's sort of becoming like Mexico and stuff, isn't it? Where it's like, oh, these types of films. There's only one Mexico and it's slums.
It's
There's
yellow
only,
tint.
yeah, there's only one Peru and it's those ruins. You know.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, I just much prefer this franchise's vision of England. I like being in the England of this Paddington.
Yeah, which we don't get much in this one.
We don't.
Yeah.
If you have a fear of spiders, it could be a struggle in parts. It peppers in the cinematic references like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Fitzcarraldo, and Steamboat Bill Jr. I enjoyed the action climax and the ending. Yeah, it's nice and more Paddington. It's just not as good as the first two.
Yeah. So it's not vital, but it's also not a problem that this exists.
If you like Paddington, I wouldn't discourage you from watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not as good as the first two.
No, I pretty much agree with that. I do think that, like, the character that sort of sets Hugh Bonneville on his little journey of learning to take risks, I don't know if that's, like, the best way of...
The American woman. Well, Haley Atwell.
Haley Atwell, which is weird, because
Yeah,
she's not American. But yeah, she's this, like, brash American person who's come in and she's bought the company and she gets...
Yeah.
Like, a guy parachutes in through a skyscraper, so I'll give her a coffee, and she's like, you gotta take risks.
Right.
Everybody's gotta take risks. Let's all take risks together.
Yes.
It feels like this is the character that... Like, this is the absurd villain character that gets defeated later on. This isn't the person that gives you the ethos you have to live by.
Well, because he ends up with calculated risk, doesn't he? That's what cause you could argue that's a compromise, I suppose.
Okay.
Where it's not pure or balls out risk.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe. you know.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he has a massive spider on his face at one point, so I think that would trigger some people.
It certainly would, yeah.
You don't like spiders, do you?
No, but it's weird because it was like a CG spider.
Of course.
So I don't know.
So you didn't feel
it was like enough for me to go like, oh, it's okay. I can look at that.
Okay, it's not like Home Alone where that's an actual tarantula on his face. Okay,
it's weird though because like the Chamber of Secrets spider never bothered me either.
Oh really?
Yeah,
okay.
and that's a practical. Like obviously it's a puppet.
Yeah,
but it's a practical spider in there.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't bother me, but like the Aragog, right?
Yeah.
The big spider, I don't like it. Like I don't mind spiders.
Yeah.
But like a massive spider like that, like I wouldn't want to be. I don't like it.
I certainly wouldn't want to be in the company.
No,
of
but you know what I mean. It's like I don't
that.
like looking at it. Right? When the eyes, you can see the eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. I wouldn't like a massive spider, a little spider, whatever. But I mean, that's the kind of what word would you use? What's the fucking word? Begins with F.
Fallacy?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
That's the fallacy, isn't it? Because the bigger the spider, generally speaking, the less dangerous it is.
Yeah.
The smaller, that's the more toxic they get.
Okay.
So Aragog, you know, you could just fucking hug him. He's not only is he like not toxic, he's a pacifist as well.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh yes, I'll take this punch because you needed to get that out of your system. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, watch it if you want.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Red 1. It's rubbish. Largely innocuous rubbish, I would say. Maybe it was the cunting season, but I couldn't bring myself to be angry with it.
I will say, going on like the reaction, certainly like in the YouTube sphere, you would assume that this is another like Madam Web or The Crow.
It's not that.
It's not that. No, it's bad.
Yeah, it's just it was rubbish.
Yeah, and it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's sort of manageable bad.
It's innocuous.
You get through it, you know?
Yeah, you don't feel like it's doing damage to you. It's just,
Yeah.
It's a family Christmas movie with all the tinselly upchuck that implies.
Well, it is, but it also kind of doesn't... I don't know, it just feels a bit like dull to sort of
it is.
be a family.
No,
I'm not just talking about like its quality. I just
Yeah.
mean like aesthetically and just in terms of like its world. It just seems a bit dull.
I know what you're saying, but that's what it's going for, isn't it?
Yeah.
It has that music. It has the family movie score. It's a film we've seen before on several levels. Buddy movie, Christmas film where people are less Christmassy these days. Dwayne Johnson being the straight man in a family comedy. One Last Job. There's also the saccharine sentimentality in the final act with Chris Evans' character realising he hasn't been a good father. Again, nothing new, but it's curious just how obstinately unmoving it was.
Yeah.
Again, you play some music, you get me a little bit, and it's just like, you look at it and you go, no, I don't think so. There's also much of what you'd expect from a mainstream comedy, gag reflex humour, an aspect of disilification with the ELF backronym. So there's like enforcement, logistics, and fortification.
Yeah.
Which is doubly annoying because this doesn't need to not be silly.
Well, that's the thing. Do you think that's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson going, no, I've been through the Tooth Fairy and everything. I don't want to be an elf. I don't want to be a silly character again.
I doubt it.
Yeah?
That just feels like on a page kind of joke it's elf, but it's enforcement, logistics, It's,
No, it could well be. Yeah. I think that...
But that's the whole gag of the film, isn't it? Is that we're depicting the elves as super secret spy, like the Secret Service, basically.
Yeah.
So Santa's ripped and...
Yeah, no, that's very much the case.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like with this film, it seems like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson people are losing patience with him.
Yes,
now.
That's true.
I think he did some damage with Black Adam. Because I think a lot of people attribute the fall of that phase of the DC, whatever it is, with him. Mm-hmm. But also, stories came out about like, this film costs $250 million to make, and some of that budget can be attributed to the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just wouldn't turn up some days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I think there was some stories saying that like they used to have people just on standby in case he showed up.
Okay.
There might also been something about like he handed out like bottles of urine at one point. I don't know what that was about.
What?
Or like he didn't want to go to the toilet, so he would like pee in a bottle and then just give it to people. Like,
well, that does certainly compromise his image as the nice guy, Hollywood nice guy.
Yeah, well, I said to you before, didn't I, that there was that tweet, I think it was when they started filming Black Adam, and he showed a picture of like his security gates, which were just like on the floor, and he was like, oh, I was going to be late, so I had to rip the security gates off, and we're all going to make it. And I was just like, I don't know, there's something about this guy I'm not buying.
Okay.
And now it feels like more people are kind of going...
Right.
I'm not saying... No, I don't want to be like, oh, I was right about it.
No, I know you're not saying that, yeah.
It's just like now other people are going, yeah, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That we just assume that guy's all right, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't buy anything that I see about like nice celebrity. Anyone could be nice in public.
Yeah.
I think Russell Brunson and Conan, like, they talk about Jennifer Lawrence and how he's attracted to her.
Yeah.
And he's like, would you... Conan's basically like, would you? And he's like, oh, no, yeah, I wouldn't, like, have sex with this incredibly attractive actress. I mean, she's probably a fucking nightmare. But, because, like, no, we've had her here, she's lovely. It's like, anyone can fake it for 10 minutes, I can fucking fake it for 10 minutes. And it's true, innit? It's like, no one knows what... You've got to be a nightmare on some level to be a mega star, I think, I don't know. I mean, obviously everyone loves Tom Hanks, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. To be that successful, it's got to require some, like, triaging of your personality.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, we also have the whole music swells for a meaningful moment before swiftly cutting out, followed by colloquial banter bullshit.
Yeah.
That very subversive technique that oozes bathos. Dwayne Johnson and J.K. Simmons play with conviction. You kind of have to admire that. They don't behave as though the film's beneath them.
No. I mean, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson only has one level anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, J.K. Simmons in particular.
He's playing it like he's Santa in a kid's film.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is better at being the straight man. He's quite annoying as the Charles Grodin into Johnson's De Niro.
Well, I think a lot of people have said, this feels like a Ryan Reynolds role. Why isn't Ryan Reynolds playing this character?
Yes, I think in future I will misremember it as being Ryan Reynolds. I think when I picture it, I picture Ryan Reynolds... like a family Christmas movie poster of Ryan Reynolds like running in front of a sled. Yeah. That's kind of what I picture.
Okay.
Nick Kroll is a mark of death for me, as is Mark Evan Jackson. He needn't be in every comedy.
The Nick Kroll thing, because in that scene, we haven't really given the plot. We don't need to.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But basically, like, there's this, the villain character, if you utter her name, she like knows where you are and she can then use her magic to kind of fuck with you. So they utter her name, and she possesses Nick Kroll and kind of speaks through him. Yeah. And it cuts back and forth between the two. So we're kind of seeing both sides of the conversation. But there are moments when Nick Kroll is speaking as her.
Yeah.
So she'll be speaking and she'll be delivering it very menacingly and talking like this. And then it cuts to Nick Kroll!
Right.
And he's doing this! It's like, what are you... Is that him? Or is he not being directed there?
His voice and just, he has that manner that when he pops up is like, oh no, we're here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're in this type of comedy now. I mean, he's in Parks and Rec, which is obviously a great show.
Oh, they're all in something good.
yeah.
Like,
Him and Jason Mantzoukas.
yeah, he's probably been in something good, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they've all been in good things, but it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Here we go. There's a Hispanic polar bear named Garcia. Haha, but a polar bear should be called Tonrak or Ujarak or Bjorn.
No, he's called Garcia.
And Santa shouldn't be ripped. Again, I know that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
But Santa should be fat, not ripped.
Well, I mean, that's how, that's this film's explanation for how Santa does it, right? He's just very fit and
Yes,
just runs
he's like
the
an
houses.
A kind of, what do they call him? Type A sort of personality.
Yeah.
There's too much swearing for a kid's film. It's a 12A. Why is it a 12A? The swearing is the thing that tips it to that, which is completely avoidable.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you go for a PG? More viewers, more money.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah.
Director Jake Kasdan and writer Chris Morgan have resumes that suggest this is what to expect. The latter penned many of the Fast and Furious films, as well as Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The former is responsible for Bad Teacher, Sex Tape, and the Jumanji revivals. Now, Jake Kasdan is the son of Lawrence Kasdan, who co-wrote The Empire
Wars.
Strikes Back
Yeah.
and wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark. So yes, the bauble sometimes falls far from the Christmas tree.
Oh.
That's it. That's all I got for this.
I appreciated the little Krampus sequence where they're all people in suits. They're all it's physical makeup and prosthetics and everything.
Okay.
I mean, that was probably done for practicality's sake because it's a very dense, it's a small room with a lot of people in it. So to kind of CG them, it probably would have been a logistical nightmare. But yeah, it's the one part of the film where something real is happening.
Okay.
So that was kind of nice.
Okay. Fair enough.
I only say that because it's the only bit of the film I remember, really.
I don't remember. I kind of remember the final battle.
Yeah.
I still remember where it takes place.
Yeah, I know they fight snowmen at one point,
Yeah.
and they banter at some point, and there's a car,
beach. I remember the
maybe,
beach.
and they go to the beach
Yeah.
for a bit. But yeah, in terms of scenes that I remember,
Yeah.
it's basically just the Krampus stuff.
Oh, I don't remember any scenes. No, I won't go that far.
Okay.
But okay, that's fair. Not a recommendation.
No, certainly not.
No.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing.
It's not.
Especially in 2024 in particular.
No, it's a Christmas film that will be forgotten next Christmas. It's done.
Yeah.
It won't. We won't be troubled by it again.
Yeah.
It's over. Okay, now a no Jordan double bill.
Oh.
So
I'll just leave that, shall I?
No, please don't. I'll breeze through them.
Okay.
The first is Queer, not a Christmas film. It's from director Luca Guadagnino, however that's pronounced, and writer Justin Karitzkis, the pair behind Challengers.
Okay.
This is a film about Daniel Craig being gay in Central and South America.
Those places specifically? Is he not gay when he goes elsewhere? Or
I don't know. We don't see him anywhere else, so
Okay.
maybe not. It has a nice opening sequence. I liked the look of it. The production design nailed the setting and the period as far as I could tell. It was more visually dynamic than I expected. There are some dream sequences and trip sequences with some arresting imagery. Leslie Manville shows up for a while to turn in a somewhat mad performance. It has a nice score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, two of the best composers in the business. The soundtrack was also surprisingly Nirvana heavy, featuring Come As You Are and Marigold, as well as a cover of All Apologies, which of course contains the lyric, Everyone is Gay.
Yeah.
There's an unrecognisable Jason Schwartzman. Daniel Craig is solid. He's always an unconcerning screen presence. It's a film very much fascinated by the male form. There are some full-on gay sex scenes. Daniel Craig sucks more than his fair share of penis.
Okay.
Last episode, I spoke of wanting to see James Bond seduce a bloke, and the universe responded in its own way. Be careful what you wish for, is all I'll say. It shares some similarities with last year's All of Us Strangers, notably its depiction of a gay relationship, ultimately characterised by death, as always, that may or may not be real. The final act of Queer devolves into hallucination and metaphor, the highlight, low light, of which, for me, was a snake coiled into the infinity symbol, out of whose eye rolls a single tear.
Right.
Before that, the film is meandering and navel-gazing. It's a hangout movie, really, but instead of spending time with a group of friends, it's one guy just killing time. Consequently, it feels longer than it is. It's an auteur type film in the negative sense. It's bound to become an indie favourite. I found it boring and tedious. And I'll raise this point not to be snarky or to play into my bigot character, but it is curious just how consistently gay filmmakers make gay films.
Okay.
Many of them anyway. And just to be clear, I don't have an issue with it as much as some questions. I understand that their sexuality is defined somewhat as being other, and of course we accept straight couples as the default. But yeah, to be gay, it would seem, implies more than being gay. Gay artists, anyway. It's not just like a thing that you are, it's defines your art as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not gay. I completely accept that, like, it's the other thing.
Yeah.
But it's just unusual how many gay artists will only write gay plays, will only make gay movies.
And do you think that's outside of just... Well,
Write what you know.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but like, oh, well, the system has decided that you're gay. That's your identity now. Like, when you're going into
No,
films,
I don't think
it's
so.
like, well, you're gay, so write me something gay.
I don't think so. I mean, I had a lecturer who was gay, who wrote plays. He could write whatever he wanted, who only wrote about plays about gay relationships.
Okay.
Obviously, Luca Guadagnino has made, like, challenges, which it has an element of homoeroticism, but it's not a gay movie in that way.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he's made a lot of gay movies. Now, again, I don't have a problem with it. It's just interesting that they seem so drawn to consistently do it. You know? Anyway, that's queer.
Okay.
And The Room Next Door. So yeah, that and queer kind of stick out this episode, but they were two of the last 2024 films to hoover up. This is Pedro Almodovar's English language debut, feature-length debut anyway. It's basically about Tilda Swinton is dying, and Julianne Moore's an old friend who's now a writer, goes to see her in hospital, and Tilda Swinton's like, I want you to kill me.
Oh, all right.
I want you to help me die.
Okay.
But it's a series of conversations between those two, and that's basically it. One of Julianne Moore's first utterances is her belief that death is unnatural. She can't believe that something that's alive has to die. And that establishes the fustian middle-class pain-in-the-arse tone.
Oh dear, okay.
It reminded me of Disclaimer. It's the sort of world where all the characters write fiction, short fiction, published in magazines. Not my cup of tea. The script is very play-like, partly in its limited locations, mostly in that descriptive, introspective way of talking about life that doesn't happen in the real world. It's also novelistic, the kind of passages where the author delves into the inner life of a character, except here it's rendered as dialogue. I later discovered that it's indeed based on a novel. I'm a fan of both Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore, but I couldn't wait to leave their company.
Right.
I know this is cinematic heresy, but I'm basically not a fan of Pedro Almodovar. He's by no means a bad filmmaker, but you need to be into that kind of film, and for the most part, I'm not. They're dramas about families and middle-aged women and homosexuality. He's another one. Maybe we're just not grown up enough, but you would be bored out of your fucking skull watching this.
Okay.
And that's my final word on that.
The performances wouldn't carry me through, would they?
No.
Okay.
It's not like, oh, great performances. They're fine. And I like both of those actresses, but you just can't wait to leave that film.
Okay. It's just the tone of it, or just
the kind of film that it is. And yeah, the fact that it's people that talk as though they're an author describing the interior life of a character.
Okay.
I looked at him and I realised that for somehow all these years I'd thought, it's like, that's not how real people speak.
Yeah.
Not even people that write fiction speak like that to each other.
Yeah.
So if you're not into that, avoid it.
Okay.
Squid Game Season 2.
Yes, I'm back.
You're back.
I'm in it now.
You're in it now.
Okay.
Well, let me just say before we get into it.
Go on then.
Why does Squid Game get its own Netflix ident?
That really bothers you, doesn't it?
I mean, like, I know why. It's the biggest thing, whatever, other than Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But why? Like, Stranger Things doesn't have one, right?
Well, I think I saw a meme where, like, they said that, like, oh, Squid Game Season 2 had the biggest debut on Netflix ever. And the comment underneath was, doesn't everything Netflix release have the biggest Netflix release ever?
Right.
Feels like they're always saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not just the fact that it's massive, it's the fact that it's literally cross-cultural. Like, it's a South Korean show.
Yeah.
What other South Korean thing is big in the culture? In the West culture, anyway.
Oh, BTS.
I mean, I'm talking about just, like,
television.
With people. Like, the people that watch Gogglebox, like those people.
I think I know you're saying it's like a siloed part of, but all of culture is like that now. I think in terms of numbers, K-pop is like massive, fucking
No,
massive.
it absolutely is.
Yeah, like BTS had like 9 number one, like they beat the Beatles or something like that.
Okay.
Like in the West, number one hits. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just completely out of our orbit.
No.
But
But,
no.
but I think you'll agree this is one of those like rare shows where people that don't watch foreign shows.
I think
watch
foreign
this.
shows, often don't. Yeah, I think with television, there are K-drama people that watch Korean dramas, but yes, nothing like this. Televisually has permeated the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's just Netflix's way of acknowledging that. It's like,
Maybe.
yeah, we've got other massive shows, but this show really is like...
A breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone expected it to receive the love that it has and the success that it has.
Fine. It does annoy me, though.
Yeah, I don't know whether... I hope that it's something they're going to start doing, because at least it would justify it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, if you're going to do it, just do it for everyone. And that's
Yeah.
like a cute little thing to do.
Yeah.
Every big show... But then you'd have to do it for every show. Like, how would you determine? It's like, oh, what, I don't get one? Like,
Yeah,
Bridgeton gets one, but fucking, I don't know, what's on Netflix now? I don't even know what's still on there anymore. But you know what I mean? It's
Eric?
like, well, that's a miniseries.
Yeah, okay, it's a miniseries.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Don't start that.
Okay.
Unless you're going to give it to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember the first season.
No, well, what I had to like power watch the first season,
Yeah.
basically, because I didn't watch the first season of Squid Game, and then it became very clear we were going to talk about the second season.
Yes.
I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to watch the whole thing like very quickly. So yeah, I watched the whole thing very quickly. As someone that watched the whole thing very quickly, and as someone that wasn't really keeping like a close ear to the cultural conversation around Squid Game, I thought the second season was a lot better than the first.
Well,
So it was a surprise to me when you said, "Oh no, you're like in the minority there."
we are.
We are, yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't remember the first season very well, and I don't know if I can say that it's a lot better because of that. But no, my feeling watching it was this is better than the first season.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed watching the second season, and I feel like the first season was an obligation.
Yeah.
If I went back, I haven't watched it since 2021. I could well change my mind.
Yeah. I do acknowledge that
Yeah.
I was watching the first season out of obligation. I was
Yeah.
watching it to get to
To
this
get to season 2.
I also acknowledge that this season is shorter, which was always going to like
Yeah.
resonate well with me.
Yeah.
And I went in knowing that this has like a cliffhanger ending, and that there was going to be a third season.
Yeah, already renewed, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine if I'd went into this completely blind, didn't know there was a third season, and then got to that finale,
Yeah.
I would have gone, whoa, what the fuck?
Okay. Well, yeah, so I don't massively care about Squid Game, so I had no compulsion to re-watch the first season.
Okay.
But I don't think you need to.
You don't need to, but I think it helps, because one of the things I liked about the second season was the first one, it seems to prioritize like the mystery aspect of what's going on.
Right.
Like, what are these games? Who's running them? Why are they doing it? And as a result, a lot of the characters feel like they're just kind of playing along with the events.
Right.
So I'm sure if you actually broke it down, it's like, oh no, like the main character, like he does this and he does that, and that's why we follow him. But like, I don't really know why we're following this guy specifically over
In the first season.
yeah, over like the other 455 people
Right.
that are taking part.
Yes.
I mean, his childhood friend, who's kind of the other guy that makes it to the final game with him, he goes on a proper little character journey where he starts out seemingly quite decent, but then by the end he's like killing people
Right.
to gain an advantage.
Yeah.
He's manipulating them. So it's like, well, why aren't we following that guy? I know he's less sympathetic, but he's more interesting. The guy that kind of like oversees, the guy that's in the black mask that oversees everything.
Okay.
He's just kind of there. He's sort of like, there's a reveal at the end. It's like, oh, he turns out he's related to this character we've been following, but he doesn't really do anything. And then in the second season, because we know the score this time, it's like, right, these characters can finally do something now.
Right.
They bring the guy that's like obviously the main character in the first one, he makes his way back into the games. So his mission is to kind of keep everyone alive as long as possible.
Yeah.
And also to kind of encourage them to leave at every possible opportunity. The guy that's running this, the guy in the black mask, he sees that that's his game. So he enters the games himself.
Right.
So there's this fun little like, where he's pretending to be on his side, but he's
Yes.
actually trying to sabotage him.
Sure.
Like, stuff's actually happening now.
Right.
And that's what I liked about it, because I think you could be mistaken for thinking, oh, well, it's covering similar terrain.
It is and it isn't.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like revisiting similar beats, but like, we know the score this time, so we can react accordingly.
Yeah. Well, I'll just start by saying that I hate Netflix runtimes.
Okay.
Because it's too much freedom.
Yeah.
It's anarchy.
Oh, I think episode 8 of season 1 is like half an hour. I was like, where the fuck did that come
I know.
from? And these are hour-long episodes. Why is this half an hour?
Right. And I won't say all acting, but comedy acting is just different in the East, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
they don't do naturalism so much, or their natural state is larger than ours.
Yeah.
The final scene of the first episode won me over a bit, the Russian roulette scene.
Yeah.
And then I kind of locked into it. The obvious criticism would be that it's repeating itself, which would be understandable, considering it's Netflix's biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
But I quite like the idea of a character that's run the gauntlet before, applying his knowledge to do it again.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
tutor others. There's a fablistic, which isn't a word, quality to that.
Okay.
It's like a fable. It's like a Greek going back into the labyrinth, now knowing all the hidden trapdoors.
Right.
Do you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Like Broadchurch and The Joker 2, like the follow-ups to a lot of things that were almost certainly conceived as one-offs, it unpacks or tries to unpack its predecessor. It's commenting on its predecessor. The voting was a decent addition to season 2.
Yeah.
That was really good. But while I understand the galvanizing power of money to people in dire financial straits, it's difficult to believe that they would vote to keep playing
Yeah.
after they see what it is.
Yeah.
It feels like you get the odd straggler that might, but maybe I just fundamentally misunderstand human nature. I don't know, but I don't think I do.
Well, the fact that it's so close every time, right?
Yeah, the tie breaks were bullshit.
Yeah.
That was the cherry on that cake. It's Breaking Bad has ruined me.
Okay.
Because everything in that show is so earned and organic and real. I now struggle with any dramatic contrivance or imposition. The number of shows and films that wouldn't have been made if I'd had a say in the script, as is anyway. Tie breaks are dramatic, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's wisdom in including them.
Yeah.
Maybe wiser as a dramatist to ignore strict credulity. But I couldn't include it. Not with that many participants.
Well, maybe once, right?
Maybe what? Well, here's the thing. The board members in Succession, fine. 6 against 6. Not 360 people.
No.
Not even 100, where it's like split straight down the middle. No, that would be like you gotta work something else out.
Yeah.
We can't do that. But I understand maybe it's dramatically wiser to do that. If you have anything against Koreans, this is the show for you.
Okay, all right.
Well, because you just get to watch them die over and over again, don't you?
You do.
I didn't count, but after the first game, when they took a vote, they probably had 180 people on each side, and then throughout they kind of kept their eye on that.
Okay.
They'd have to keep close track of those numbers. If they did that right, there is something about marshalling that cast size and deciding how many of them will be characters and have, speaking roles. And presumably it's the same extras. I hope it is. I hope it's the same extras.
Oh, I trust that they would do that, yeah.
Of course they have to be a trans.
Yeah, but because it's an Eastern show, I don't know what that... No, but that's the thing. I don't know what that means in this context. Because obviously we think about it in terms of Western media. There's a push for these stories.
I mean, South Korea,
representation and everything.
I think South Korea is a pretty westernized place.
Okay, well that's the thing. I genuinely
I think.
Yeah, it's I don't know if this is
they would
were
feel
asked
the
by
same
Netflix to
obligations.
put this in,
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the case at all.
I don't know if Netflix would have asked. It's more just about that's what the creative community is kind of doing now, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it's it's another unique story we can tell, isn't it? Because if you've got a cast as big as Squid Game, or potentially as big as Squid Game, you want variety in your characters.
It's not a major problem. It's just of course they had to be one,
Okay.
The purple-haired guy was annoying.
Yeah, I think he just fell on the wrong side of annoying. 'Cause there's enjoying a character
villain,
you hate.
nefarious, and then there's I don't even want to watch you.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't stand his constant switching back and forth between English and...
Yeah, that pissed me off as well.
Yeah.
I was kind of invested, in the main character not dying, but I didn't really care otherwise. I suppose I wanted the mother and son to make it.
Yeah.
The mother, anyway. And I wanted Purple Man to die.
Yeah.
So, it did have a little bit of that game show reality TV appeal.
Okay.
And I liked the mental finale.
Yeah, where it's just oh no, we're just going to
gunfights.
Yeah, we're going to take their guns and just storm the place.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I liked that. It's been renewed, like you said, for a third and final season.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can get away with doing this again. And I don't know if they'll try, given how it ends. They're going to have to do something really different.
Okay.
But I did enjoy... they can't do the games again.
Well, I don't... Yeah, because, these people tried to disrupt the games.
Yeah.
They killed most of them. They kept the main character alive.
Yeah.
But they've killed all of the people that were took their guns.
Dissenters, yeah. No, it feels like this is kind of breaking it now. Hopefully.
Yeah.
The third season's going to be the fallout of everything.
Yeah.
Everything meeting, And they'll probably find a way to kind of do a game or two somewhere, somehow.
Well, I imagine they'll probably start with him all right, you're no longer participating in games. You're going to watch these people die.
That kind of thing, yeah.
And then he'll break out and...
but they cannot do what they've done for the first two seasons again, which is another series of games. They can't do that again.
I do prefer the games this time.
I do as well.
It feels like they're a lot better. Like they're more focused on like being team games.
Yeah.
Because you've got like the red light, green light, where it's the doll, and when the doll turns,
the iconic image.
Yeah. That is like the most iconic game in the show. And then the follow-up one was, you will get to sit in a room and extract a triangle from some sugar.
Right.
It's like, this is less cinematic.
Yes.
But the big carousel and the relay
rooms,
that they did, they lend themselves more to.
Yeah. I think it's better, but
yeah.
I mean, I think the first season, it's probably like high 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. This one's like around 80.
Okay.
I was like, no, I think I prefer the second one.
Yeah.
I do. But I say that having not seen the first one in 4 years, so...
Yeah.
But I'd recommend it.
No, I would certainly recommend it. Yeah, no, I kind of like... I watched that first season, and I came away like surprised.
Okay.
It's like, why this? I wonder.
Okay, surprised at its popularity.
Yeah. It's like, because those first 2 episodes, like most of the first episode, it's kind of giving you context for this is who this guy is, this is why he wants to go into the games. And then like the back third of that episode is red light, green light. But then the episode straight after that, they all get released back into the world again.
Yeah.
So it's another one of them outside. So it's like, this feels quite slow for people.
I know what you mean.
Going to give it, like coming from a position where, I don't watch foreign stuff, so it's really going to have to win me over.
I think a show that's that popular... You can't pin it on a demographic because it's obviously everyone's kind of watching it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it can be chalked up to young women who like Korean stuff, for one thing. Who like BTS and all that.
Yeah.
And there's also a battle royale kind of thing that people like.
Yeah.
There's a reason the Hunger Games seems to appeal more to girls than to guys. Not just because it has a female protagonist.
Okay. They're like murder, do they?
It's like, well, you got the true crime thing in there as well, yeah. I don't think they like murder. They just... I don't know what it is. But there's definitely a type.
Okay.
It's the white girl horror type.
Okay.
There's into BTS and K-drama and Insidious and Squid Game and Battle Royale, and like My Chemical Romance and serial killer documentaries that look up the pictures on Reddit and stuff. Yeah, that's a type. I've dated a few of those people that tick those boxes.
Right.
But it's like a millennial white girl thing.
Okay.
That was probably the groundswell, and then it kind of blew up from there.
Okay.
But yes, it's a recommendation.
It is a recommendation, yeah. I guess I recommend the whole thing, but like I said, I think the second season showed a lot of improvement.
But you obviously have to watch the first to get to the second.
You do. Not just in terms of, like you said, it's a commentary on the other one. It feels like... I mean, it felt funnier to me. I don't know whether you got that.
I don't remember.
Okay. But there were like a couple of instances in the second season. There's like a moment where... I really like in the first episode where... He's trying to track them down again because he wants to...
Yeah.
He doesn't want to re-enter the game straight away, but he's just trying to find them again.
Yes.
And there's no, like, clever plan. He's just spending resources to, like, we're just going to search the train stations every day.
Yes.
Like
it's just kind of grunt work. It's just looking in the phone book. It's not like...
It's just, like, he's brute forcing it. I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird that, like, he dyes his hair at the end of the first season, and then he just loses it straight away in the second.
Again, I don't... No memory.
Well, I think he starts the second season with red hair, and then he's just like...
Does he?
Yeah, he goes normal hair again almost straight away. It's like, that kind of went nowhere. But yeah, when they're kind of like the whole team that are going to be searching the train stations, they're like, right, we're searching for this guy. And the camera like does like a crash zoom out.
Okay.
And it's just this really shit dummy.
Okay.
Where it doesn't even look like a person.
Okay.
Like the comedy felt a bit more...
Okay.
Like it felt, a bit more funny this time. And... In the first season, there's a plot line where one of the players is like extracting organs from players that have died. And I assume that was just like a weird little side hustle thing that they were focusing on. And it gets revisited here. And I don't think they dwell on it, but I think just the fact that they revisited it and the way they revisited it, it just kind of clicked for me where I thought, this is probably where they get the money from to run the games.
Sure, okay.
They kill people, they harvest their organs, they sell them on the black market.
Yeah.
That's why they've got 45 billion whatevers.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So again, I don't know.
One?
I don't know, I can't remember what it was. Also, how fucked is this Korean currency where... I think it's after like the first game where they're like, we only get $1 billion each, that's nothing.
It's like that, and there are places like that. It's the same as the contestant, where it's like he's got to earn like $1 million something.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to Korea, he does it in like 3 months rather than like the year it took.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. It's like in India, I think, in Vietnam, Steve Merchant talked about like, I tipped a guy like $1 million dong. So I don't know if that was like poultry or not, or whether I just like gave him a fortune. But yeah, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yeah.
Explain the plot, Jordan.
You're brave, aren't you? Handing the reins straight
For the
over to
plot. Come on, you can do the plot, can't you? Quickly, please. Yeah, I think the best way to do this is you do the plot.
Okay.
I'll say what I think.
me. Okay. Right.
And then you can go. How long are we at? Yeah.
We're going an hour 52.
Okay, right. And then you can go for like 2 till 2:15 or something.
Well, is that what you're giving me?
Yeah, like be sensible.
Okay.
Like, help me
right.
out here.
Okay.
So what's it about? Oh God, he's settling it.
Yes, let's strap in, folks. No, I don't think it's going to be one of those reviews.
Oh, thank God.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, the plot is you got all the characters from the first couple of films, but now this time Shadow is in the mix. He gets awoken from a 50-year slumber, and his immediate impulse is revenge. He wants to avenge Maria, who's this girl that he kind of had a sort of like sibling kinship when he was like before he went into stasis. She died in some sort of accident that we're led to believe Shadow caused. And then along his way, he's kind of reunited with Gerald Robotnik, who's the grandfather of Robotnik from the first two films, but is also like the head of the project that Shadow is like a part of. And so, yeah, they all team up to kind of like take over the world. But then it's revealed...
Sonic's got something to say about it.
Yeah, Sonic is also there as well for a little bit.
Okay. Well, there's no point in pretending otherwise. I watched the cam copy of this.
Okay.
Because I knew we'd want to review it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And you can hear kids laughing throughout. So it's working for its target audience.
Okay.
And as not its target audience, some of the humour is cringeworthy. Konnichiwa springs to mind. Konnichiwa. There was also much laughter of recognition. So we knew the financial reality of these films, right? That they did well. But that was testimonial proof. People like this series. They even whoop and applaud at points when characters pop up.
Yeah,
right?
they seem to, don't they?
Yeah, even like Wade, characters we hate.
Yeah.
They make running a bit more of a thing, and that's good. It has a larger scale, battling across moons and all that. Closer to the games, I imagine. An actor can basically offer three things. His face, his voice, and his body. Keanu Reeves has given cinema his body. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
He's not great at the acting with the face thing, and his voice follows suit.
Yeah.
Here, we only have his voice.
Yeah.
Keanu is a curious choice when you're only relying on one tool in the performer's kit, and in his case, it's famously blunt.
Yes.
But, okay.
Well, I just want to quickly jump in here. I'm not going to derail you too much.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make the point that as a sort of like tie-in to this, there's a Sonic game that came out in October called Sonic X Shadow Generations.
I'm aware.
Yes, you saw me play a little bit of it. Yeah. They released like a DLC level just before the film came out, based on the events of this film.
Okay.
Where you play as the movie version of Shadow.
Right.
So it uses that model, and it's voiced by Keanu Reeves, which is a different voice actor from the one they use for the rest of the
And I'm not saying it's a never, because like obviously he's Toy Story 4. I think it kind of works there because he's like a vapid character that he voices.
Kind of, yeah. He's
like a
stunt,
dumbass.
Yeah, stunt cyclist that kind of like doesn't really... Yeah, I don't really remember that character, but he's kind of a dumbass.
And we'll review it in like March or whatever, but he voices a building in Severance. So, like,
yes, he does, yeah.
And it works in that, but yeah, anyway. Jim Carrey said he would only do another film...
Oh, no, you've moved on.
you hadn't. Okay.
No, my point was just going to be like, in the game,
yeah,
you can tell he is bored out of his mind. It's a really flat performance.
How can you tell? That's Keanu Reeves.
No, but that's what, like, even by Keanu Reeves standards,
even by his
like
standards.
he's phoning this in.
Okay.
He's really phoning this in.
Okay.
And the level's only like 3 minutes long. So it's
and with
like,
the game, then you have to record. It's like hours and hours and hours of like multiple possibilities. And Merchant talked about that with Wheatley. He said it was interminable.
Yeah.
He's like, because if an idiot goes on the wrong corridor, you have to fucking record the
exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's less like that stage in particular in that game. It's a lot more kind of linear, so there's less opportunities for you to have to account for. Oh, they might go over here or whatever. But yeah, I think there's a line where like when Shadow's kind of first, because it's set in Tokyo, so this is when he's first seeing Tokyo, and Keanu Reeves is like, "Hey, this is a beautiful city. It's just how Maria described the Earth." And it's just like, oh, wow, it's really not.
The thing is, the moment you just sound like Keanu Reeves. Yeah. But I guess I'd have to hear it to know exactly how.
Yeah, I think the point I was leading up to was his performance in the film is better than it was in the little downloadable level they did. But yeah, I completely agree with your point. It's not...
Yes.
It's not a brilliant voice performance, is it?
No.
I think a lot of it is propped up by the animation of that character rather than...
It's like a philosophical question, like, if a Keanu Reeves is ever bored, can anyone ever really know?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so yes, Jim Carrey, who was obviously in this twice, said he would only do another film if the script was written in gold ink, which they then did as like a gimmick, right?
Yeah.
He's openly said he's doing this because he needs the money, and just, I hope these aren't his last films. God, let it not be. The terminus of his career being the Sonic trilogy, or indeed quadrilogy, as has now been confirmed. 2027, March 2027.
Yeah, they were fucking quick with that.
I know, but like with a month as well.
Yeah.
Though he's dead now, yeah?
I mean, he might have been dead in the second one, you know?
But that was there was more ambiguity.
Yeah, alright, like he fell off a tall thing in the second one, whereas in this one, we see him blow up.
So there you go.
Yeah. But then again, we thought Shadow was dead, and like post-credits scene, Shadow's there, isn't he?
Yeah, they couldn't kill two of them, I don't think.
No.
He uses a few choice phrases like all possible genders and trauma dumping, but hey ho. Despite all that, or everything he said, you never feel like he's dialing it in. He seems to give it his all.
Yeah.
So like fair play for that. He's often singled out as the best thing about this franchise, and I know he's gurning particularly widely for the young crowd, but I do wish he would just stop it now and then.
Especially since there's two of them now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They keep using that dog, man.
Do you have a name for that dog?
I don't think they do they?
They must have given
They
the dog
must.
a name.
I don't know what it is. And like they do subtitles. I don't know if that's a thing they've done before, but they put subtitles up when he barks.
I think that's new.
It's new, okay.
Yeah.
And it says, "You stole my humans," like H-O-omens.
Yeah.
No. The dog is already adorable for one thing, okay?
Yeah.
But people adding captions to dog videos like on Instagram with those misspellings, fine. But if you're translating a bark, like please pay the dog the respect of doing it accurately and not making him look like a damn fool.
Don't rob him of his dignity.
Well, it's like, that's not how you're translating it. Like people do it on Instagram, it's like, oh, this is how a dog might sound. In this, they're showing us how he speaks.
Yeah.
It's not humans, it's humans.
Yeah, but
Paying
the
some
dog
damn
know
respect. Well, yes, it's a dog. It's like it's saying it in a dog voice, and then we get to see it in English. It's not humans.
Okay.
The arcs curve exactly as you'd expect for all the characters, but this isn't trying to break the mold. That's okay. It goes a little bit darker and adds a little more emotion than before. It is quite a lot better than the first two, but I am a bit surprised by the reception.
Well, I mean, this is, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. As of this recording, second highest grossing video game movie of all time.
Okay.
Most beloved of the franchise on all fronts, it seems. Like this film, it's made its mark, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a crowd pleaser, and for its crowd, it will please. Like the finale in particular put me in mind of Power Rangers, and I can see why kids would lap it up. It's the kind of film, I think, for which you're later nostalgic.
Okay.
Like something like Cats and Dogs, you know?
Right.
Like, oh, I remember those Sonic films from when I was a kid, There's a post-credit scene that I missed that involves Amy Rose. I don't know what that means, but you do. And I think let's leave it at that. That's me done.
Okay. Well, not just Amy Rose, Metal Sonic. As well, yeah. They're kind of, I said to you, they're sort of the last two... Metal Sonic isn't the main character, and it feels like in recent years they've tried to do that to Amy Rose. Because, like, for a while, she was always, like, the lovesick. She would chase Sonic around trying to get him to marry her. That was Amy Rose's character.
Okay.
And then around about, like, I think 2014, they tried to make her like an actual member of the team. Mm-hmm. So she became like the fourth, like it's Sonic, Tails, Knuckles.
Yes,
and now it's Amy as well. But it never felt like they really found a personality, like a consistent personality to give her.
Okay.
She's just kind of kind and a girl, you know?
Oh, okay. She's the girl one.
Yeah.
Okay. And other than Tails.
Shut up.
Knuckles, dog, Tails, what else?
Just making this review longer.
What's on the bingo card?
You're just making this longer, mate.
Okay.
For like the very brief time we see her in the post-credits, it seems like they're leaning more towards like, you know, badass girl boss.
Of course.
I don't know whether they're going to do that.
Okay.
But like I understand like if you would feel like you had to like give her a personality rather than adapt.
I imagine she'd be a female Sonic who's like sarcastic as well and kind of always makes him feel kind of small, puts him down in like a way that makes him fancy her.
Maybe, because that would be a new dynamic. So like, okay, we'll see if you can make that work.
You know what I mean? Like Gamora and Star-Lord.
Yeah.
It'll be that kind of relationship, I think.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Especially since they've like given her a cloak now as well. It's like, oh, she's like...
She's a cloak.
Yeah, she's had that like brown cloak, didn't she?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, no. Of course, yeah. She's like wearing a brown cloak and there's a hood reveal.
Okay.
And then, yeah, Metal Sonic is there as well. His design is basically completely unchanged.
Right.
Basically, every adaptation they've done with Metal Sonic...
That stayed the same.
Yeah, like, that design has never been changed. And I don't know whether it's just, like, it's one of those just incorruptible designs.
Right.
Or whether it's like, well, what do we do to it, you know?
If it ain't broke.
If it ain't broke. Although, again, in the very brief time we see him, I do feel like they've fundamentally misunderstood the character.
Here we go.
Well, no, because like I said to you, didn't I? The whole thing with Metal Sonic is that, yeah, he's a robot built by Dr. Eggman to mirror Sonic's abilities in every way.
Right.
But sort of an unforeseen side effect of that, at least I assume it's unforeseen, is that he genuinely believes he's the real Sonic.
Okay.
And that's kind of what's interesting about that character, is like, he's a robot, he's obviously not the real Sonic, but he genuinely believes he is.
Yeah.
And that's why Sonic has to die.
Right.
So if there's thousands of him, it kind of takes away from that, right? Because, like, do they all think they're the real one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a post-credits cameo, so, like, let's just reserve judgment on that one.
Yeah.
But yes, that would compromise that characterization if they're going for that.
Yeah, so if he does end up just being, like, a drone character with his thousands of him,
yeah.
that would be very disappointing.
Okay.
Especially since they've released concept art recently, because I think it's now available on, like, home media or whatever. And so all of, like, the extras and, like, deleted scenes and everything are coming out. They've also released concept art of the post-credit stuff. And, like, in this, it's just, like, sort of Sonic's just in the woods again.
Yeah.
And he encounters them. Whereas in the concept art, they're in, like, this post-apocalyptic city. Okay. And, like, Eggman is, like, sitting on his throne and there's a Metal Sonic next to him. And Amy is standing over the ruins of, like, an Eggman statue. So I don't know whether that's...
Okay.
I don't know whether that's the direction they're leaning in for Sonic 4, or whether they just completely abandoned, like, oh, that's way too much effort, we're not going to do that.
Eggman, well, that's a different story, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder how much concept art, like, diverges from the end product in most cases anyway.
Yeah, because in this case, a lot of the concept art doesn't line up with the film. Okay. There's a lot of, like, different stuff in there. And I don't know I don't know whether that was changed.
Maybe they just changed the script and, yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, that's the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Let's get to the actual film. The first Sonic film was released in, like, April 2020, like that, March 2020. Oh no, it was February 2020, because it was a month before...
It was Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was a month before the world was kind of plunged into lockdown in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. The second film came out in April 22, which was a month after Russia invaded Ukraine.
Oh, right.
And this film came out in December 24, less than a month before Hollywood and large portions of LA literally burnt to the ground.
Okay.
Never mind me, Sam.
Yeah.
I don't know if the world can take any more of these films.
I think you're neglecting the fact that awful things happen constantly.
Yeah, but they've consistently happened.
No, but...
vaguely around the time that these films have come out.
I think you could pick any day in any year and go, look, within a month, this awful thing happened.
Yeah, but
I think you're stretching it a little bit.
But these are particularly catastrophic things. I'm sure you'll agree, right?
What was it? The LA fires?
The LA fires, the COVID-19 pandemic.
You.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me.
Well,
the COVID pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, the COVID pandemic and Russia invading Ukraine.
Right, okay.
Big shit, right?
Yeah, but whatever. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue. I want to get through it.
Oh, right. So you're just not going to...
No, fine. You're right. You're absolutely right.
No, it's no fun.
Unequivocally right.
It's no fun. We're supposed to be conversing. It's a podcast.
I'm conversing with you.
No, you're arguing with me because you're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to...
Oh, let's not do this. Let's not do this every single time.
Yeah, you were the one who brought out the bingo card, right?
Yeah.
We need to have we need to have a fight.
We didn't do it with Knuckles. Knuckles was okay.
What was
you like acquiesced to normality with Knuckles.
Well, what was there to say about Knuckles? Oh yeah, it's...
What's there to say about Sonic 3? It's alright. It's better than the first two, but it's not that good.
Well, that alone like demands discussion, right? Because it's better...
I just told you why. I did it. Did it for everyone.
But no, I will admit, yes, it's better than the first two.
Okay.
I think that if this was the first one that came out, or at the very least, if the first one that came out was of equal quality to this one, I certainly would have had a better reaction to these adaptations. I think the world would have as well. I don't know whether critics would have given it a better score, because I think by this point they've all kind of resigned themselves to, it is what it is.
I think on the what are the first two, like, what, 60-ish, are they?
Yeah.
Is that, like, better than bad, but not...
Yeah, I think they're just kind of like, whatever. I mean, I thought this would be terrible. It's not. You know?
Whereas this one is... Are you saying that about this one as well?
I'm saying this one kind of like, there are things on this which kind of are a lot closer to good than we've had before.
Yeah, I think you are hobbled if you gave the first two a certain score and go, this is a lot better. Then you kind of have to give it. It has to be 84, 85% or whatever
exactly.
it is. It's not that. I think the first two, it's about right. Maybe they should have been in the 50s rather than 60s. But this one's like 70. It's not like in the 80s. Would you agree with that? It's not in the 80s. Considering like we think of other films that are in the 80s.
I don't know. Well, let me characterize my experience of watching the film for you. Have you ever have you ever been tired, Sam?
No, Jord.
No?
No, I'm 30. I've never been tired.
Oh, well then this isn't going to mean anything to you.
Okay, we'll try and explain anyway.
Okay, well, sometimes when you're tired and you're not really doing anything, like you just you're on a bus or you're sitting down or you're not really engaged in whatever, you'll just kind of be there and suddenly you'll just jolt awake.
Right.
Like you didn't realize you were asleep. You're not even sure that you were asleep.
You were falling asleep and then you stop.
But you don't remember that. You just remember being awake 1 minute and then being really awake the next, as though you'd been asleep.
I get what you're... Okay.
You know what I'm saying, right?
I wouldn't phrase it, but yes, I get where you're coming from.
Okay, well, how would you phrase it?
Well, I just don't think that's an accurate representation. I think that feeling is when you're about to go into sleep.
Yeah, but then you jolt away.
But then you correct it.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes you more awake, because usually it will happen straight again after that.
Yeah.
Straight away again after that.
Yeah.
But that's whatever. Okay, that's what it was like for you watching this.
Yeah, like I'd be watching the film, and then, as you pointed out, Konnichiwa,
yes,
or the double Jim Carrey dance sequence, or it's like we're two actors. It's like we're one actor playing two characters in a film. Screen. Literally looking at the camera.
Oh, so the jolts awake with the bad moments.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So it's not high praise then. You're saying it was like mostly soporific, interrupted by awfulness.
I don't know. I don't even know if it was soporific. I think it was just like, oh, I might have been enjoying it a moment ago, but I'm certainly not now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's interesting that you've attached a kind of narcoleptic quality to...
It's the only, comparable experience. Not because of, the drowsiness component,
right,
but, I'm suddenly aware of
okay, because going off what you said, I would infer that you mean it was basically bland and boring.
Okay.
But there were moments where it was actively bad.
Well, I mean, there would...
But you're saying it was all right. But sometimes it was bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly had its bland moments because, I mean, they insist on just basically doing the same thing every time. So they're like, once again, Sonic is on the run from the military. And once again, they do, they're plot points that keep recurring.
I don't want to sound like a prick, but I would redraft that review you're writing if you're comparing the experience. You're saying that watching the film and enjoying it, you're using the analogy of being really tired and falling asleep.
But do you at least
I get
see
you.
how I
get
there?
you.
Yeah.
I get you.
It's the jolt. That's the bit that I want. It's the jolting awake. It's the jolting into. Oh no, that wasn't good. I think I was enjoying.
You interrupted my flow.
Yeah. No, that's what the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, the film keeps interrupting the flow.
Yeah.
I do think part of it is because it is cheating. Like you said, the golden retriever. There isn't much of the golden retriever.
Yeah.
But the golden retriever's there, and it talks now, or at least we see what it's saying. Yeah. There's less human stuff than I think there's ever been in these films.
Yeah.
It really does focus on the characters this time. They play Live and Learn a couple of times.
Oh, that's your big...
Yeah, I think it's even the leitmotif throughout the score. It kind of represents Shadow and his connection to Maria and everything. So it gets used in the score, and they just play it outright during that big space battle at the end.
Okay.
Live and Learn, What I'm Made Of, This Machine, Break Through It All.
Yeah.
The anthems of this franchise, they're my golden retriever, Sam. As well as golden retrievers.
Yeah.
But they're my golden retriever. I can't have a bad day if I'm listening to those songs.
Okay.
So it is, I do think it's a bit unfair, but also, I mean, Live and Learn is from the game that Shadow's introduced in.
Yeah.
It's from the story that this is kind of adapting. I totally get why it's here.
Yeah, it's like saying you can't use it's cheating to use the Rocky theme in Rocky. It's like, it's Rocky, it's what it is.
No, exactly, yeah. But that song does have a power over me specifically. I imagine not you, because I don't think it...
No, of course it doesn't. No.
But they do have
Yeah, I don't have... But it'd be like the Power Rangers song would do the same thing for me.
Yeah.
But that's because of, nostalgia connection to it, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I find golden retrievers cute. I know you're saying they're kind of indestructible.
Yeah.
You can use them, you plop them in anything.
Well, we've complained before, haven't we? Yeah. Well, we're like, you put a golden retriever in something, it's like, no, you can't make me like this now.
Yeah.
It's the same with Knuckles show, isn't it? Like, don't make the Golden Retriever a character.
Right.
You can't, like, trick me into liking this show.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just like, we've just come a long way, I think, from, like, that first film where, obviously, famously, you had the ugly Sonic design, where they very quickly after that announced they were going to redesign it. And I think in the wake of that, Tim Miller said, or at least the producers, I don't know if it was Tim Miller specifically, but they said that, like, oh, we suspected the fans would hate it. We did not expect everyone to hate it as much as they did. And I don't know which film it was, but I think the composer, Jung-jae XL, he also went on record saying that, like, because people have pointed out that, like, oh, you don't really use Sonic music that much in the score. You don't, like, reference it or, like, incorporate it. And I think he said something to the effect of, yeah, video game music doesn't really work for films. I couldn't find a way of making it work.
Right.
So we've come a long way now where this film really does feel like it's actually trying to...
I don't get what that means. I mean, like in the context of the Sonic songs, they're like 90s power rock songs.
Well, the songs are. I think he's referring more to the score.
Okay,
which, like, a good composer can adapt.
Yeah.
That's
but okay, fine. That's a little bit more
Yeah.
Understandable.
So yeah, the fact that Live and Learn plays a big feature in the score, the fact that, like I said, it really does feel like they're trying to pay respect to the characters in the franchise this time. We have... Like, this franchise has improved since the first one.
No, it has, definitely.
I would be wrong of me not to acknowledge that.
Yes.
I wonder if part of that is because of Jeff Fowler, the director.
Okay.
It's weird, I think all of these films have been directed and written and, like, cinematographed and by the same people.
Really?
I think it's been the same, like, crew pretty much all the way through.
But you don't think of that in the way that you would with, like, Scorsese and De Niro or Edgar Wright and his
Yeah, that's the thing.
collaborators.
Like, I mean, these films, like, they share a lot of similarities and they feel the same in a lot of ways. But yeah, you don't think, like, oh, this is a consistent creative team.
No, this isn't like an auteur's project.
Yeah. But Jeff Fowler, he started in Blur Studio. And I think one of the first projects he worked on was the CGI cutscenes for the original Shadow the Hedgehog video game.
Okay.
So when they kind of, like, announced, when the media campaign for this film started, he posted a tweet saying, like, basically the first thing I ever worked on was Shadow the Hedgehog. So now I'm honoured to kind of bring him to the big screen and introduce him to a new generation. So I think that it feels like they were trying to make that the ethos of, like, the film and, like, the marketing. It's like, oh no, people have skin in the game this time.
Right.
So we're going to get this right.
Like Dan Whitehead voicing Wallace.
Yeah. Kind of.
There's a continuity.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Shadow is, like, one of those characters where, like, if they got him wrong or if it hadn't been, like, a good film, people would have turned against them.
The fan base.
Yeah. Shadow is a beloved character.
Okay.
I think he's one of, like, the only proper characters that franchise has.
Right. Well, I know he's very much your character.
Yeah, I do like that character. It's funny because I think...
The foundation for all of his passwords.
Don't say that!
No, it's like you've used it as, like, screen names and all.
Yeah, of course. But it's funny, though, because I think that, like... I think when we reviewed Chamber of Secrets... We said that's a good gateway horror film for kids.
Sure.
Like, a kid could watch that, but it is like a horror film in a way. And I think Shadow, like, the story of Shadow the Hedgehog, at least, like, the backstory with, like, Gerald and Maria and everything like that, that's a good gateway, like, tragedy for younger audiences, I think. I don't know if such a thing is needed.
Yes.
But it's a good, like... I mean, that story is a tragedy, especially if you look at it from the perspective of Gerald. And that's kind of why I was happy that they brought Gerald into the film. Because, like, in the game that this is adapted from, Sonic Adventure 2, he's kind of like a last-minute surprise villain.
Right.
Like, he died, like, years and years before the events of the game happened, but then he kind of shows up as Shadow is turning good to deliver his sort of, like, evil manifesto and, like, I've programmed the space station to blow up the planet.
Right.
That's what Gerald is in the beginning. And then later games have kind of turned him into more of a good guy. But the fact that he's actually here, it's like, oh yeah, when I think about it, the story of Shadow the Hedgehog is kind of the story of Gerald Robotnik. It's like this guy, at least in the games, and this kind of leads on to the next section. In the games, he's a guy that just has honest intentions, but he makes every wrong decision in achieving his goal. Because in the games, Maria is, like, chronically unwell. Like, she can't even live on planet Earth. She's that, like, unwell. She has to live on a space station to kind of keep her alive. And Project Shadow, like, he creates Shadow as a means of finding a cure for her, but it's also tied into military funding because they want super soldiers, but then there's also, like, an alien warlord that comes in and it's like, oh, I want you to create me, like, an ultimate, like, weapon. And then when, like, the different parties find out what he's done, that's what kind of triggers the disaster where Maria gets executed and Gerald gets imprisoned. And so it's like, yeah, that guy, like, he just wanted to cure his granddaughter.
Right.
But, like, you know, he's fucked up Shadow for life, and he's like killed his granddaughter, and it's a tragedy.
Okay.
And like coming from a franchise like Sonic as well, it's like, okay, yeah, all right, this is not what I was expecting, but
okay.
I don't know. For me, that's kind of the charm of the Sonic franchise. It's like, well, I didn't expect it to do this, but I'm kind of into it now that it is.
Okay.
You know? But yeah, they have made changes. And there are also some other questions I've got for you. So I'm just going to ask you questions about the film.
Okay.
And you're going to tell me whether, like whether they matter and also what you think of that. Okay?
So I am listening, I promise you. I'm responding.
He's on his phone.
I'm having to respond because someone's coming here whenever we finish.
Oh, right. Okay.
Was
this your plan? It's like, oh no, George, you have to finish the review because you're keeping this person waiting.
No, crack on, sorry.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Yeah, they've changed the backstory a little bit. So now they're not like on a space station anymore. They're on this like base on planet Earth. And as far as I can tell, Maria is not unwell.
Okay.
She's just on the base.
Yes. That was the impression I got.
Yeah. Why is she on the base, Sam?
Why is Maria on a base?
Well, why is she there? If the whole point is that it's like a military base where they're researching this creature that came in an asteroid and has this incredibly volatile power, because this predates humans encountering Sonic. This is 50 years ago. So Shadow is one of a kind. They have no idea what Shadow is. So why is there just like a girl there?
Children do live on military bases.
Okay.
That's my answer.
That's your answer?
Yeah, children, there's a name for them, isn't there? Like, you know, they're army brats. People, they live on military bases because their father's stationed there, so they move around.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a grandfather, though.
Yeah, where's her parents?
It's never brought up.
Okay, fine. That would be my answer to that. It's not a massive stretch that a girl will be living on a military base.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
Obviously, away from all the goings.
Oh, yeah, she just walks in.
Yeah, that's nonsense, obviously. But no, a girl could feasibly live, a child could live on a military base.
And not just she walks in, but that she's continued to be allowed to have like a friendship with this creature. Like they watch films together, and he like skates around the halls, and she's got like a tether, and she's like he's pulling her around.
Yeah.
No, that like you're just allowing this incredibly powerful thing you don't understand to like hang out with the girl.
Yes.
Like I said, in the games, it was. I'm not saying the games are necessarily better, but like in the games, like Shadow was like they're trying to cure her. That's the whole project, and so Shadow interacting with her kind of like makes more sense. Like, well, this is what he's for.
Yes.
So, but in the film, it's just like, oh well, like I guess there's no reason for her to be there now.
Okay.
But I just wanted to see if someone who didn't know them, Source Michelle, whether that bothered you.
It didn't bother me.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that like I think deeply about anything that like happened that went on in the film. Like,
I think
it might have been glaring plot holes that I just didn't notice because it was like, what's my overall feeling about this?
Yeah.
And my overall feeling was that it doesn't feel as bad as the first two felt.
Yeah.
And there were things about it, it's like, oh, this is all right actually.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not obviously I wasn't viewing it under the same microscope that you were.
Yeah.
But no, nothing about her being on a military base flagged up any kind of problem for me.
Okay. All right then. When Sonic and Shadow first meet, Tails and Knuckles point out that Shadow looks exactly like Sonic.
Yeah.
And then Sonic is like, why do you look like me? And Shadow goes, I don't look like you. You look like me. Why do you look like me?
Okay.
And they argue about it for a bit. And then it never comes up again.
Okay.
Is that a problem for you?
Is there a reason they look alike?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Because you're going purely off the film here.
Well, I figured there was an explanation from the games that would then... I mean, I don't even remember that scene, right?
Okay.
But I figured, either there's an explanation for it that will come later.
Yeah.
Or there is no explanation for it, but it's weird that they do, so we need to kind of make a point of that.
Do you think they look enough like each other that it would warrant them...
Well, they're both hedgehogs.
Other than that, though...
But I mean, in this world, who else? There is nobody else like Sonic.
Well, no, there's Tails, there's Knuckles, there's Shadow. There's like multiple
No, they don't look
people.
like Sonic, though.
They don't look like Sonic, but Shadow doesn't look like Sonic.
Well, he looks like a black Sonic.
Well, a bit, yeah.
Well, he does. He's dark Sonic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? I mean, isn't he conceived to be that?
Well, that's the thing. There is an explanation in the games, but it makes no sense in this continuity.
Okay. They're the only two anthropomorphic hedgehogs, aren't they? So
I mean,
they probably look a little bit alike.
Yeah, they might introduce more as these films goes on, but for now there's only two of them.
What's Amy?
Oh, she's a hedgehog.
Right, okay.
Yeah, are they going to be like, you look like me?
Well, Amy? No, because that's crossing genders, isn't it?
Oh, I see. Oh, she can't look like Sonic because she's a girl.
Look, whatever, okay? Okay. Look, whatever. I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay.
No.
Right. Like, so I just thought it was a bit... Because, yeah, like, there is an explanation in
I'm
the
sure
games.
there is, Jordan. I'm sure there is.
But yeah, it's just like, okay, all right. When Shadow like lands in the asteroid and the kind of commander is explaining like, oh, we found this creature in this asteroid and he has like chaos power.
Yeah.
How is this like functionally different from like the lightning that Sonic and Knuckles have?
What? Ask me that again.
Well, they say that Shadow is dangerous and he's powerful because he has like chaos power.
Right.
But then over the course of the film, other than the fact that he like teleports, it's functionally identical to Sonic's abilities. He just like produces lightning when he moves quickly.
Right.
So, like, what's different about Shadow's abilities? Why is Shadow so much more powerful than Sonic?
I don't know.
Okay. Did that not bother you?
Okay. I don't think about these things.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm just asking.
No, that's fine, that's fine. But you're asking, like, I don't remember any. Never mind, like, did it bother me? I don't remember these things.
Okay.
I understand we're going to have fundamentally different experiences, aren't we? Like, we were both big fans of Evil, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we were both kind of on board with doing a fairly episode by episode, like, in-depth, like with Succession as well, where we kind of did the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
There are things that I would want to do that for. There are things that you would want to do that for.
Yeah.
Sonic is something you would absolutely want to do that for. It's not something my brain does when I watch Sonic.
Okay.
You know, I'm a very, very superficial, casual viewer of Sonic.
Okay.
I don't worry about... I know no Sonic film is going to, like, be brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's going to win me over. So I'm not investing anything. So if something doesn't make sense, it doesn't like affect my opinion of the film because I'm not losing any. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no, I don't resent the questions. I'm just trying to explain that, like, yeah, I might not have satisfying answers for you because I don't even remember a lot of what you're asking me.
Okay.
But do you have other questions?
Yeah, we'll broaden the question.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily about, like, you know, law-specific stuff.
Okay.
We'll try and broaden them out a little bit.
Okay.
Cool. Why is Gerald 110?
Why is he 110?
Yeah.
Is that just a joke about being old?
Well, no, because he's been in prison for 50 years.
Okay.
So...
Since he was 60.
Yeah, because I think he was an old man. In the flashbacks, he looks the same. He's an old man when...
Is that the joke? That he's always old?
Is that the idea?
I don't know. I'm asking. I mean, you have a more vivid memory. Is the joke that, it's a flashback to 50 years ago and he's still old? Is that the joke?
I don't know. Is that the joke? I don't think the film makes a joke like that in the rest of the film. It's this weird, like...
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. What do you want? What's your opinion on it?
I don't know, because, like, when he says that,
yeah.
He's, like, not, you know, looking good for 110, he has, like... You know, Jim Carrey keeps, like, licking the quill, Sonic's quill.
Right.
Throughout these films.
Yeah, he gets a little buzz off it, yeah.
Gerald's got his equivalent, but from Shadow.
Right.
It's like he says, I look good for 110, and then he licks the quill. So I think the implication is that the quill is, like, keeping him alive.
Oh, you might be reading too much into that.
Well, that's why I brought it up. Because, like, that's a whole new thing they're introducing here.
Not only was it probably designed as... Well, it is a joke line. Looking good for 110. Like, no one makes it 110.
Yeah.
You can't look at it, you know. It might have even been an ad-lib.
Okay.
That might have been Carey just freeballing it.
Okay.
Right? It's the kind of thing, it's the kind of ad-lib line you'd say. Looking good for a 200. You know, it's... I wouldn't read too much into that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So that's my answer to that.
That's your answer to that?
I think it's probably meant to be a joke.
Okay.
He might not even be 110.
Right, okay.
He might, whatever.
But he has been in prison for 50 years.
Okay, then he might be 110.
Okay.
Yeah.
In which case, why?
It's a joke. It's a gag. It's a
all
gag
right.
line.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Is this a Christmas film?
No.
No. So why was the marketing insisting that it was?
So more people would go and watch it.
But that's manipulative.
That's what marketing is.
But it's openly manipulative and it's wrong.
I agree.
Not just wrong, like in the moral sense. Like this actually isn't a Christmas film.
I agree.
So why did they make a bunch of spoof movie posters spoofing other Christmas films, but with like the Sonic cast?
So that people would go and watch it.
But it's wrong, Sam.
I agree, Jordan. You're asking kind of... I'm telling you why, but it's not going to, like, you know, it's not going to satisfy. I can't unmake it. I can't, you know.
I really don't like that trend.
Because taking existing posters.
It's happened enough times now. I think Deadpool's done it, Garfield's done it. I pointed out to you, didn't I? Like, the Garfield movie spoofed a Deadpool poster, which really feels like, oh no, we're going...
Culture eating itself.
Yeah. And now, we've got, like, Home Alone, but, like, with Sonic on it, and, like, the Die Hard poster and whatever. It's like, no, stop doing this.
But it is a kind of...
Because you're playing into an aspect of the film that, like, I think there's one shot where, like, Jim Carrey is dressed up as Santa, and that's it. It's not a Christmas film other than that.
It's it's an Ouroboros culture we live in.
Okay.
There are no new snakes.
Okay.
It's the same snake just going through itself again.
Right. Okay. That's your wisdom.
That's my profound observation.
Right. Okay. Did you like Shadow, broadly speaking?
I didn't dislike Shadow. I suppose I was mostly ambivalent about Shadow.
Okay.
I didn't think, as someone that knows nothing about the lineage really, other than what you've told me, and knowing your relationship to the character, I didn't think it did damage to the character.
No, I think it was a good version
Yes.
of Shadow. I mean, we've already kind of referenced Keanu Reeves' performance. I don't think it ruins, like...
No, it works for that character.
Yeah, it does work.
Yeah.
And I don't like the movie designs, broadly speaking. I think they're just a bit too... There's like a bit too much detail on them. They look a bit too clunky, for lack of a better word. Though I do think the Shadow design looks really good, because there's like a shot after he's escaped from prison where he's walking through Tokyo Square in the rain, and he's like, you can see the droplets of rain like dripping off his spines. It's like, oh, that actually looks really good.
Okay.
Considering that the first film felt like a straight-to-DVD, like Woody Woodpecker film. Cheap.
Yeah, like Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, like I'm starting to see the budget finally in these films.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, they finally... this one felt like, oh, this deserves to be... Not deserves in like that it's that good, but this, as a blockbuster, I wouldn't blink.
Yeah.
You know, seeing this, oh, okay, yeah, that belongs in that list in terms of its aesthetic.
Yeah, and it's got a more sort of iconographic, globe-trotting aspect to it as well. Because I think the second film, you know, they went to like a snowy mountain and then to like a maze.
No, this one it's Sonic on tour, isn't it? Which is like this,
Tokyo
what
and
sequels do.
London.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I think the Japanese title for this film is it Japanese? Yeah, I think it is.
Hedgehog Fast Evil Man.
No, it's like Sonic Tokyo Mission or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's like
Tokyo Drift.
I think he spends more time in London than he does in Tokyo in the film.
London Drift doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No. There's some controversies surrounding this film, Sam.
Okay.
I just want to kind of like close it out because, like I said, we kind of started early on in the review talking about like this film is a success in every way. Yeah. It's got a decent score from critics. Like I said, you said it's like certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, critics like it, fans like it, from what I can gather, and audiences like it.
Yeah, and it's made money. Like they greenlit a sequel almost straight away.
Yes.
This film won.
Yeah.
So it's weird that there seems to be like this campaign to protect it from things.
Okay, but are you referring to like Mufasa?
Well, there's a couple of things.
Okay.
The first one is Mufasa.
Yeah.
Because, again, like I kind of started with the joke thing as like, oh, it came out around the time of COVID-19. It came out like Russia, Ukraine.
It was a joke. Good. Okay.
Well, I mean, you know.
I sometimes have to check
there's
that
been
you're
three of
still
them.
sane, you know?
Yeah, there's been 3 of them and we're still here. We'll probably survive another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when the first film came out, it came out around the same time as Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
And it like did better than Birds of Prey at the box office. Second film came out around the same time as Morbius, did better than Morbius at the box office. This film came out at the same time as Mufasa.
Yeah.
And so, like, at least within the fan community, people were like, right, we're going to beat the shit out of Mufasa at the box office. And it kind of hasn't.
Yeah.
Like, I think it opened, like, it had a higher opening than Mufasa, but then Mufasa made more money domestically, but then it made more money. Like,
Mufasa's done pretty well.
Yeah.
It's still number 1, I think.
Yeah. Again, maybe not, like, less numbers than they wanted, given it's a sequel to a $1 billion film. But yeah, there's, like, basically, like, the Disney social media put out a thing saying Mufasa is the number 1 film in the world. And, like, every comment was like, no, Sonic 3 is better.
Okay.
And there were, like, memes and GIFs of Shadow, and it's... Yeah, like, out of that, and again, it's hard to know whether this is, like, a joke or whether people are genuinely getting angry about this. They were saying that, like, rumours were being spread that Disney are deliberately trying to suppress Sonic 3 in cinemas. Like, they're buying out more screens so Sonic 3 makes less money. Because it's an embarrassment for Disney that Mufasa isn't doing as well.
See, the thing is, right, I know we've joked in the past about you being a fanboy. It's not really true, right? You've got 1 foot in that gamer community and 1 foot in the real world.
Right.
Or the film, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Where, like, I know Sonic is not the be-all and end-all of life. And even though you might resent that, like, a bad film has been made, you're not going to take it personally. You're not going to, like, threaten to kill the people that make, you know. You're not a fanboy. You're not. You're just, you're familiar with and you obsess with the detail, which is fine.
I did throw up a little bit when Wade Whipple showed up, though.
I mean, I did as well. That's just, he induces vomit.
Yeah.
No, but like you would be more in touch with, those people. It's the it's the gamers that kind of they feel vindicated that their hero is now kind of doing well, and so it must crush everything. It's not enough that it's doing well. It's got to vanquish all foes. I don't understand that mentality. If anything, I have the opposite mentality. I'm like, if anything, I'm drawn more towards gatekeeping, which is when Breaking Bad was like the most successful thing in the world, I resented it.
Okay.
I resented that people were recommending it to me. But again, that's like that's the half negative shadow side of me. The other half being, it's a good show, I'm happy it's doing well. I'm happy for the people that made it. That's my best self.
Yeah.
My worst self was like, it's my show. And I understand that feeling as well. But we occupy both spaces. A lot of hardcore fanboys only occupy the one space.
Yeah.
And will, threaten to kill, Barry Jenkins for directing Mufasa.
Right.
I mean, it's insanity. It's nonsense. It's insanity. It's childish. It's Arrested Development. All the things we've talked about before.
Yeah. I do wonder if part of it is because another thing I suppose I do have to credit the films with is it does feel like the franchise is in a much better place than it was in 2020 when the first film came out.
The games.
Yeah, like it really did feel like Sonic was kind of on autopilot when that first film came out, because like there was like multiple year gaps between each game, and then when the game did finally come out, it was like mediocre or even just bad.
Okay.
So like it wasn't like a good time if you're like following that franchise.
Sure.
But the first film came out, and then the next game I think that came out of that was like an open world Sonic game. Like within the context of the franchise, that's really experimental, like trying all new things. And they were saying like, oh, we kind of took inspiration from like the way he fights in the films, to kind of like that was informing a lot of our decisions. And now like it feels we've just had Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is like the first Sonic game that's come out in years where it's just been consistently like decent.
Okay.
It's not just like, oh, that bit's good, but the rest of it's a bit bland. It's like, no, the whole thing just feels very polished.
Okay.
And like they clearly made the thing they wanted to make.
And you think this has been engendered by the spotlight that's been brought on the franchise by the films?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people that weren't Sonic fans before now are. It's kind of renewed an interest in the franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, that game that came out, Sonic X Shadow Generations, part of that was probably motivated by, well, we want to put a Sonic game out there that we know is critically well received. In previous, like a remaster, so people have something to play on current hardware. But also, let's give some love to Shadow. Let's put him in like his own story, so we can. And they called it like the Year of Shadow 2024 because they had like press events and like all this stuff built around and themed around him. So it's like like those films have breathed a little bit of life back into the franchise. But I think it was like people that have lived through that phase of like mediocrity and like crap.
Right.
In the Sonic franchise. Now that it's doing good.
Yes.
Any, like...
threat. Any perceived threat.
Yeah. No, we're shutting that down.
Yeah.
No, fuck you, Disney. Like, you're not going to buy Sega. They're winning. You're bad. Right. Fuck off.
Yeah.
The Matt Walsh review kind of embodies that as well. He did a review.
Okay.
Of Sonic 3. I think he called it like the worst thing he'd ever seen, or like...
He hasn't seen much then.
No, he hasn't seen much. And he, he's a conservative film critic. They don't really know what they're talking about a lot of the time.
No, a lot of the time they don't.
Yeah. So yeah, he was kind of saying like, that's the thing, he did like a 10-minute review, and most of that review, they were just like broad.
Freudian slip.
Well, I mean, he just seems bored all the time, doesn't he? That man. But yeah, they were
never
kind of
rises above a certain level. It's always kind of like that. Yeah.
Sonic 3 was the worst thing I've ever seen. There are some duties as a father that you need to perform, and by God, this was one of the hardest. It was that kind of timbre. Yeah, but they were kind of like broad criticisms of the industry, not of that film specifically. Okay. It's like, it feels like it was written by AI, and he was like highlighting movie tropes, and it was like, you could have made this review about like half of the films that came out last year.
Everyone's entitled to an opinion, and no off-the-mark review as we see it should kind of castigate an entire... I mean, he's not a film critic, right?
No.
But should castigate an entire critic's thinking.
Yeah.
But he gives a bad review to The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, that tells me then that I'm probably not going to be on board with all that of
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you look at the comment sections of that video, it's just people being like, your kids don't deserve a better film, they deserve a better father.
Well, that's silly as well.
Yeah. It's like really, I mean, I guess he's like, because he's conservative as well, so it's like okay to call him a piece of shit.
Sure.
That's the common thinking. But yeah, just like, oh, fuck you, Matt Walsh, you're evil.
Was that the other controversy?
The third controversy, because that was number 2. Number 3, for whatever reason, and I don't know why they made a point of announcing this, for whatever reason, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is ineligible for the Best Picture Oscar.
Oh, yes.
And it's not the only one. There's like, I don't know, like 100 other films maybe that are ineligible.
For various reasons.
But
it's usually in certain categories, though, as opposed to this. It can only be their weird Orwellian box-ticking thing.
Well, that's what's funny about it, is that, again, like, you know, like it was posted on like the Sonic like subreddit. It's like, oh, it can't win Best Picture. And every comment is like, oh, this show's out of touch and stupid the Academy are.
Okay.
Oh, fucking... That film did so well, they couldn't possibly... They don't want to give it, like, any... There were people saying, like, oh, the Academy is owned by Disney. Like, that kind of shit.
The thing is, even if it was good enough to be nominated for an Oscar, a film like that wouldn't be nominated for it. I mean, the Academy Awards have updated a little bit. Like, they try and recognise genre films more than they used to.
Yeah.
But... I mean, obviously, it's nowhere near the top 10 films. No. It's not, you know, it's all comes down to opinion. But saying it's out of touch, it's like, it's the same with Conservatives, same problem, which is like, films that make money should win awards. What are you talking about? We're supposed to recognise quality, merit, you know? If anything, it should be films that nobody has seen that are really good, that are the ones we want to, you know, highlight. But anyway, awards are all, it's silly top to bottom awards. It's like fundamentally... a stupid idea.
No, it certainly is.
But if you're if you're a gamer or a film fan, you're nevertheless obsessed with lists. And so, like, we do our own awards. You can't avoid it. It's like just a part of it, part of liking film. But I assume that's the reason, right? Is that it's diversity, equity, all that stuff. It doesn't adhere to those.
It would be that, or they didn't submit it for best film, right?
Which they might not have. But also, like, oh, it has to have a certain cinematic run before it can be considered eligible. And it had that run. It had that, yeah.
The only thing I can think, is like, it must be the diversity things. But this hasn't come up at all in, like,
but any of the people. If it's ineligible, that would imply that they have tried to submit it.
Oh, yeah, possibly. Yeah. But yeah, the people saying, like, the Academy out of touch, there's no, like, oh, these diversity laws are wrong. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's all just, it's Disney.
No, but that is it's Disney, okay. Yeah. So that is the Academy being out of touch. They're the ones who instantiated those rules.
Yeah, but it's not out of touch in the sense that, they've introduced, like, arbitrary diversity laws that are, like, kicking good films out of the equation. It's, they would never nominate something as good as Sonic.
I can actually see that getting worse.
Yeah?
The diversity thing. With things like that, because Trump has now come in and is basically doing away with a lot of that stuff, like in government.
Yeah.
Like, no more, we're getting rid of DEI, there are 2 sexes, official policies now, there are 2, all that kind of thing. In the arts community is going to respond by going, right, we'll only fucking reward gay black film. You know, I can see that happening as a rebuttal.
Yeah, it's sort of like...
as a kind of revenge.
Yeah, it's like, we got to strike some balance.
As a revenge on normal people.
Revenge on normal people, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's the best of the 3. And like I said, there are things in this that certainly approach it actually being good rather than just bearable.
Yeah. It's between those two things.
In some ways, it's kind of the worst for me because I just straight up don't like those first 2.
Yes.
I think they're just bad. They're just rotten. They're just not good.
Whereas this had promise.
Yeah.
That it sometimes fell short of.
And then those that all that stuff they're stuck with, like the crap humor and the boring human characters, and whenever that kind of like takes over for a moment, it ruined the film for me.
Okay.
Or it ruined that moment for me.
Yeah. Okay. I would say it's an okay film.
Okay.
That's where I land. It's not a good film.
I think it shows that they are moving in the right direction.
It's better, yeah. But I don't think I could honestly say it's a good film, that Sonic 3. I mean, I can't, that's what I would say about like Nosferatu. That's what I would say about loads of films. I can't use the same word for Sonic 3.
Yes.
But it's not bad. And it's not like, I got through it. It's better than that. It's an okay film. It's okay. It's like 3 stars or something.
Okay.
2.5 to 3 stars. It's not anything beneath that. It's not anything above that.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm in the best position to like give it a proper rating.
But you are, because you've got the 1 foot over here. Try and think of it with that 1 foot.
No, because like...
Think of it with your foot.
Because whenever I go, he's probably right with 3, I go, but konnichiwa.
No, I know.
And then and shit like that, you know?
I know, but I feel like if you line up films you give 2.5 stars to, you would probably look at it and go, Sonic's, it's better than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all I go by. I know it feels weird, like 3 stars. I give Sonic 3 stars.
Yeah.
But you might have to, just by its relative, where it stands against other films.
Okay. Can I just, get away with saying this is...
the best Sonic film.
Yeah, this is the best Sonic film, and I'm not disappointed in the people that watch it this time. Okay. No, that's unfair, because like I said, there are this,
well, you don't know how good it is before you
these
watch
films
it,
are making fans out of people,
yes.
And as someone who likes that franchise, I'm obviously happy with that.
Yes.
And if there are people that enjoy them, I can't take that away from them, nor should I. This one, I do. You might be right when you say that. I think younger people will be nostalgic for this when they're older. Yeah. I don't know whether they'll think of it as a good film, but they'll certainly be nostalgic for it. But yeah, I don't know. We might be moving in the right direction here. So if they continue to
absolutely.
make things better with the next one,
yeah, I'm gonna be on it. My prediction, for no reason whatsoever, other than a kind of gambler's trend sort of thing, is that it's gonna be bad again. Because the idea you build up to a good 3, there being a good 4 seems less likely to me.
Well, it could, That
what I'm saying? It's gonna go back now.
Well, that's the thing. They've done Shadow now. Shadow is the big one.
Yeah.
Shadow's the big one in terms of like you said, the story, the fact that the film is darker and more emotional. That all came with Shadow.
Yeah.
Shadow brings that to the film. Now they're doing Amy.
Yeah.
Amy and Metal Sonic. Like I said.
It's diminishing returns.
Yeah, Metal Sonic isn't a main character necessarily, but there's interesting things about him. Amy is kind of the last character where it would be weird if they did a film franchise and never used her. Mm-hmm. From this point on, they could use anyone, basically.
Yes.
And I feel like they are going to just continue to... They'll just make another film and introduce another character for as long as they can.
Yeah.
And it does feel like Sonic 4 is going to be the start of that, where it's just we'll just keep making these.
Yeah, no, it's going to be diminishing returns from now on, is what I predict. Is that it?
Tails was complicit in killing a person in this film, and he's fine with it.
Sure.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And 2 Jim Carreys is a lot. I think even if you like Jim Carrey, it's a lot.
He needs to stop it.
He needs to calm down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, that's it. That's our review of Sonic 3.
Well, I just want to say one more thing before we finish.
Okay.
We're recording this a few days after the death of David Lynch.
Oh, yes.
By the time this comes out, you'll have seen and read and heard all the tributes. But this is a podcast where we talk about film, and there are certain people whose passing is not just impossible, but deeply wrong to ignore. And David Lynch is synonymous with cinema. A major influence on me, and I just wanted to say, rest in dark dreams, David Lynch. Just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, I would also give you tribute to him, but I'm less familiar.
You're discovering him now.
I'm sort of discovering him now. And also, I don't think David Lynch would give a shit.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't.
This is a guy that hated putting chapters on his DVDs. No, you got to watch the film, you watch it in one.
Yes, exactly.
So the idea of 2 people on a film podcast doing a tribute to him,
no, you wouldn't
you'd probably be like, oh, what the fuck is this,
Yeah, I'm sure. But we have to do it anyway.
And so in that way, I will honour him.
Okay.
By saying nothing
different
about him.
Okay, well, on that then, we will see you next time.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.